Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to this July 6th meeting of the Mojave County Board of Supervisors. I'd like to say first, the young Marines will please present the colors. We'll move to a prayer conducted by Pastor Bob Pete, and then the national anthem will be sung by Aliana Bremer. We'll then have a Pledge of Allegiance led by Supervisor Borelli, and the color guard will be dismissed. We'll now have a prayer by Pastor Bob Pete.
Dear God, Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus, we come before you with gratitude as we mark this 250th year since the founding of this nation. We thank you, Father, for the providence to the generations, for the freedoms we enjoy, for the sacrifices made by the courageous men and women who made them possible, and for the enduring hope that has guided this country through times of trial and triumph. Lord, we acknowledge that every good gift comes from you. As it is written, blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. We ask that you would continue to guide this nation in righteousness, justice, and humility. Grant us wisdom to these leaders today gathered here. Give them clarity of mind, integrity of heart, and a sincere desire to serve the common good. Help us as a people to remember that a true strength is found not only in power, but in character, not only in freedom, but in responsibility, not only in rights, but in love for one another. May we seek peace, pure justice, walk humbly with you as we reflect on the past 250 years. May also look forward to a renewed commitment to be a people who honor truth, uphold dignity, and seek your guidance in all we do. We entrust this meeting to you, and we ask your blessing upon this country, this state, this nation, this city. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. We're now pleased to have with us Aliana Bremer, who will sing the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early lights what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
That was beautiful, Alana. Thank you. We now have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Supervisor Borelli, and then the color guard will be dismissed. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please face the flag of a country that has brought more prosperity to the world than mankind has ever known. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hoorah! Carry on.
Hello, Mojave County. As we prepare to celebrate America's 250th birthday, I want to take a moment to reflect on what an incredible blessing it is to live in the greatest nation in the history of the world. 250 years ago, brave men signed the Declaration of Independence and pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor to the cause of liberty. They believed our rights came from God, not government, and that free people should govern themselves. These principles are just as important today as they were in 1776. Here in Mojave County, we see the American spirit every day. We see it in our veterans who answered the call to serve. We see it in our families, our ranchers, our miners, the small business owners, first responders, and hardworking citizens who make this community such a special place. Arizona was built by pioneers, risk takers, and patriots who believed in freedom and the opportunity. That same spirit continues to define our state and communities today. As we honor our nation's founding, let us also recommit ourselves to being engaged citizens. Our Constitution and our freedoms are not self-sustaining. Each generation has a responsibility to protect them and to pass them on to the next generation. Thank you to the Mojave County Board of Supervisors for recognizing this historic milestone and for helping preserve our shared history. May God continue to bless Mojave County, the great state of Arizona, and the United States of America as we celebrate 250 years of freedom.
Please be seated. We're thankful for that message from our Congressman, Paul Gosar. We're now going to go to the board. I'd like to open it up and see if any of them have messages for America 250, and we'll start with Supervisor Lettman. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have some comments. First of all, before I get into my comments, I do want to recognize a citizen of Bullhead City. Her name is Gail Mers. She is the one who's provided the 8 historical flags to each side of the podium here. These are all flags from the Revolutionary War era. Just to run them down real fast, we have George Washington's commander's flag, followed by the Bennington 76 flag, followed by the first flag of the American Revolution, which is the Bedford flag. And next to that is the flag of the Sons of Liberty. And then off to my left, on the farthest left here, is the Bunker Hill flag. Probably next to it, the best known flag of the American Revolution, which is the Gadsden flag, Don't Tread on Me. And next to that is the Guilford Courthouse flag from North Carolina. And finally, my favorite, which is the Green Mountain Boys flag from what would later become the future state of Vermont. That time was part of New York. Anyway, many thanks to Gail Mers for providing us with these flags. She also provided a significant number of the flags that are hanging in the libraries during the summer. My parents strongly believed that America was created under the hand of divine guidance, and I think our founders believed that also. And I have some remarks I found from another president that was given 50 years ago during the bicentennial, and I just wanted to read these. 200 years ago, a small band of patriots placed their trust in God and dared to believe that freedom was worth fighting for. Today, we honor that same spirit alive in our communities, alive in our veterans, alive in every person who continues to build this nation with faith and gratitude. Here in America, we understand what it means to rely on divine intervention. Our history is full of moments where God's hand-guided pioneers protected families, strengthened communities, and just as He has watched over those early Americans, we believe He continues to watch over us today. America's story has never been one of perfection. It's been one of perseverance, repentance, renewal, and grace, and that is worth celebrating. I couldn't agree with those comments more. Just to give you an idea of this nation that we've built, I think the divine hand means that we created institutions and a setting that allows many things to happen that would not happen elsewhere in the world. And I just quickly made a list of accomplishments and innovations that this country in 250 years has done. In terms of accomplishments, we have the Declaration of Independence, the United States Constitution, the Louisiana Purchase, the first powered flight, okay, the Apollo 11 moon landing, increased life expectancy, the American Red Cross, the Transcontinental Railroad was completed, the Emancipation Proclamation was given, the D-Day invasion, the victories in World War I and World War II, the Manhattan Project, and winning the Cold War. That's a list of accomplishments. How about some of these inventions from Americans in 250 years? The laser, the light bulb, the airplane, the internet, telephones, the assembly line. Thank you, Henry Ford. The personal computer, the microwave oven, global positioning satellites. We take that for granted today. Search engines, the space shuttle, hearing aids, the eradication of polio, the invention of ATMs, and even the invention of cheeseburgers. Okay, that's all happened here in the last 250 years. So as we mark America 250, I really think we should show gratitude. Gratitude for the freedoms we enjoy, gratitude for the divine protection that has sustained the nation. Importantly, gratitude to the men and women who have worn the uniform. Gratitude for the opportunity that each of us has. God bless our veterans. Thank you very much, our county, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Wonderful comments, Supervisor. I would also say thank you to Willis Carrier in 1902 who invented the air conditioning.
The air conditioner, yes. Okay.
Supervisor Gould.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I made it a Gould family tradition when my children were growing up that I would read them the Declaration of Independence. They didn't particularly appreciate it, but they know what's in it. And the reason that I was concerned with that is I wanted them to know that their rights come from God and not from government. And that these rights are inalienable and can't be taken away by government unless you let them. The Declaration also lays out the grievances against the king. And it gets kind of redundant when you go into that, but they talk about all the things that the patriots were upset with that the king was doing to them. And essentially it's a letter to the world telling them why we were separating ourselves from Great Britain. The other day I ran across something. I have a great to the 10th or 12th power grandfather that fought in the Revolution. And I happened to run across a court proceeding where he was applying for a pension. So in 1833, the government created a pension for soldiers that had fought in the Revolutionary War. So that in 1834, he was applying for this. His name is Chesley Dobbs, and he was 84 years old at this time. But let me read you some of this. It's kind of interesting because it gives you the history of his service to the Army. You have to, some of the English sounds different than how we read it today. The words are different words and whatnot, but I'm going to read it as it was here. State of Tennessee, Claiborne County, this day being the 19th day of June, 1833, personally appeared before the Court of Pleas and Quarter Sessions, the same being a court of record, Chesley Dobbs, aged about 84 years, a resident in said county, who was being first duly sworn on the holy evangelist of Almighty God, doeth on his oath and make the following declaration in order to obtain benefit of the act of Congress passed in June 7th, 1832. What's interesting, the pension he was applying for was $32 a year. So we've had a little bit of inflation over the time. He states that he entered the service of the United States under the following name officers and served herein stated that sometime in the year of 1776, he resided in the county of Culpeper in the state of Virginia, and that he was drafted to perform 3 months' tour of duty under Captain Tutt, which said company was attached to the regiment commanded by Colonel Edward Stevens, and marched in various places in the state of Virginia on scouting parties, but there were no engagements. After my time at service had expired, I received my discharge and returned home, which said discharge I have lost or mislaid, so that I cannot produce the same at this application states further that he still resided in the county of Culpeper in the state of Virginia until the fall of the year of 1779, that he was commanded by same officers, and that he was what was called a Minuteman. And the said applicant states that he did actually serve in the Army of the United States from the year 1776 up to the fall of the year of 1779. The term of 9 months, the applicant states that he moved to North Carolina and settled himself in the county of Burke, where he volunteered himself in the Army of the United States for a term of 10 days under Captain Dobson. In the company to which he belonged was attached to the regiment commanded by Colonel Locke. We marched from there to Ramsauer's Mills on the 10th day of June in the year of 1780, and we fought the battle at the Mills, in which we had a victory over the Tories. And in the same day, in the evening, on the same day, we joined the brigade commanded by General Rutherford, and then the general discharged all of the volunteers, in that this applicant then returned home after having been about 10 days in the service of his country. The applicant states that sometime in the month of August, then the next ensuing, he was taken prisoner by the Tories on his own plantation, and that he was then paroled by Colonel Husbands, one of the Tory colonels. And so he remained under the parole for the next few days before the Battle of Kings Mountain. And that said applicant states that he was then indecipherable word by Colonel Cleveland, and that the Colonel Cleveland discharged him, saying that if I was ever taken a prisoner, that the enemy would hang me or shoot me when they found me. May without I was exchanged according to the rules of war, and so I remained a prisoner until the end of the war. There is no person living or dead that can testify to this. He's 84 years old at this point. What's interesting is Ramsauer Mills was a battle amongst partisan fighters. It was a battle between Tory militia, 1,300 Tory militia, and 400 Patriot militia. The Patriots routed the Tories. That was part of the Southern strategy, where Cornwallis was going to try to take the South, but they routed them. Both sides took 150 casualties. But I just thought that was kind of interesting because it kind of brings it home. Apparently, he passed away later, and then his wife got the widow's pension of $32.25, which is about $2.50 a month, which I just thought that was kind of interesting. But that being said, I hope you found that was interesting. But we live in a great nation. We're truly blessed by God to be here. God's divine providence led us to where we are today. Let's not lose it. God bless America. Thank you, Chairman.
Man, thank you. Supervisor Borelli. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I just came back from an overseas trip, and I marveled at what I see overseas, and I see citizens of other countries and how they reflect on America, United States, and having seen other Americans that are overseas at the time, and of course how grateful we are to what we have here today, and it's amazing how the things that we take for granted, the little simple things, like working public restrooms, lines on the road where we have orderly traffic, we take that for granted. There are some of these countries are chaos. Police are vulnerable for bribes. They shake down their citizens. We don't allow that here. But as America just turns 250 years old, our birthday, I stand here to reflect on what our nation's journey means to us that have worn the uniform. Supervisor Martin, Supervisor Legenfelder, myself have worn the uniform. In the Marine Corps, we are taught to stand ready and uphold the trust placed in us. That same resilience is what has sustained America for 2.5 centuries. Let us honor our sacrifices. Let us honor our sacrifices that built our great nation. Let us reflect on those core values of those that are dear to our heart and those that have fought and sacrificed everything for us. to be here today. In the Marine Corps, we have a slogan. We're not really a slogan. It's more our core values of honor, courage, and commitment. It's not a marketing slogan. That's an everyday way of life. It's just the way it is. And I am grateful and honored to have earned the right to be buried in the American flag. With that, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of Semper Fidelis. God bless America.
Thank you, Supervisor. Supervisor Martin, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I just want to say up front, my family has always been in the military. It was kind of like expected that the oldest son of everyone in our family served in the military. One of my great uncles served in World War II. My favorite cousin, Jimmy Darrell Martin, or Messer, I should say, he was sent to Vietnam. He was there only a month when he lost his life. I have subsequently named my son for him to carry on his legacy and the sacrifice that he made in service of our country. I enlisted in the United States Army when I was in college and had a high draft number, and I didn't have to go. But my family and I determined that freedom isn't free. Somebody has to go. And in my case, I was the oldest one in our family. And I left college, I left a good life, and went down and enlisted in the Army in 1969. I served in the Army honorably for 2 years, 9 months, and 28 days, but who was counting? It was a turbulent time in the Army and in the country and in the world, but I was proud to serve. And I just, it's been, to me, I went in kind of a harebrained kid that had a lot of thoughts about what our country was about. And after I served that time, I realized the importance and the honor and the duty that we as every citizen must do to protect this country and our way of life. I'm proud that I'm a veteran. And like I say, I on July 4th, I'm just as proud as I was the day I went into the service. I spent that day with friends and family, and I reflected back on the time that I was in the service and what has been going on in our country since that time. And in a lot of ways, I'm saddened, but for me personally, I am proud to have been a member of the Armed Forces of the United States of America. And I'm also very proud to serve on this board. This is a board that governs, and governance is not easy, but I am absolutely 100% proud to serve with these folks, and I'm proud of you, the citizens of Mojave County, state of Arizona, and the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor. Yeah, I'll keep my comments brief, but this 4th of July really did reflect, and I came to a memory. I have 2 kids. My youngest is 18, but one of my proudest moments in both of their lives is I took them both back to Washington, D.C., to the National Archives to see our founding documents with their own eyes. And the reason I did that was because I wanted them, and I think it's important for all of us to recognize that we're a part of something that is far bigger than ourselves. We have a shared heritage in this country. Yes, it's divided today, but there's a lot of great documentaries out there about George Washington's life and a lot of other historical figures, and you come to the conclusion that it's never been easy in this country. It's always been a struggle. It's always been hard. There's always been tremendous challenges in this country. Ours look different than they had, 250 years ago, of course. They had far worse problems than we have today. We have to invent problems in this country today, it seems like. They had real problems. But even 250 years later, America is still worth believing in, and it's still worth fighting for. And Ronald Reagan, in his farewell address, said it's the shining city on a hill that people look to in the world. I think it's still that. So to all of my fellow Americans in the audience today, here on the DS and watching on television, thank you for your role in this experiment that we're continuing on, and hopefully we do all of our unique and individual parts in leaving it better than what we came into. So thank you. We'll move on with our regular agenda here. The Board of Supervisors may by motion recess into executive session to receive legal advice from the board's attorneys on any item contained in this agenda pursuant to ARS 38-431.03 A3, 4, and 7. Looking for a motion and action to call for an executive session to be held on July 20th, 2026 at 9 a.m. for discussion and consultation with legal counsel in accordance with ARS 38-431.03 A3, 4, and 7.
So moved.
Do I have a second? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes appear to have it, do have it, so ordered. Thank you. We'll move to official business to come before the board. The first being discussion of pending or contemplated litigation claims and demands. Attorney Davis.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Nothing to report.
Nothing to report?
Nothing to report, sir.
Okay, thank you. We'll move to committee and or legislative reports. We'll go first with Supervisor Borelli. And Supervisor Borelli, you want to donate your time?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think my briefing about the County Supervisors Association would be best served by having our Senator Angus here to actually report. I think she could do a better job on giving a whole big picture of what happened in the last budget.
Absolutely. We'd like to welcome Senator Angus. Thank you for being with us here this morning.
And we had a lot of money, and that brings a whole other kind of fight. This year, we didn't have money in the budget, and we had big things that we had to take care of. It was one of the busiest sessions in state history, more than 2,000 bills introduced. I think that's a record. And even with the governor on the other side of the aisle who sets records of vetoes, we delivered real results, the largest tax cut in our history, protection of our kids and our communities, and a slate of priorities we are taking straight to the people this November. Let me start with a couple of bills that I sponsored. I was very lucky. All my bills got signed. I think maybe one didn't. Not even sure why, but I just want to tell you about a couple that I'm the most proud of. One is breast cancer screening cost sharing. I don't know if people know, but when you have commercial insurance, you get free mammograms. That was in the ACA. All the insurances have to pay for it. The state pays it. Let's say that you have something that needs further diagnostic testing, which is the real serious part of it, right? You get a mammogram, and if you get that call like I did, and they say you need to have another test, then that test is not covered by insurance. And I know that for a fact because it happened to me. 2 years ago, I went there, I had it, thank God, everything was fine. And then a year later, I got a bill for $2,500. So this year, ironically enough, and sort of fortuitous enough, I was approached by the Susan B. Komen Foundation and the American Cancer Society to right that wrong. You know, everyone knows we don't really like mandates, but this is something that the state access pays for. The employees of the state get it. And so now anyone with commercial insurance, including you, because I was still on your insurance when I had that done. So I was very, very proud of that. The other one is a bill that Representative Biasucci and I did together. And as you know, it was a problem here in Mojave County about what happens when you have an incompetent person that can't stand trial. According to the law, the statute, he's supposed to go to a secure behavioral health facility, or she going to a secure behavioral health facility. Unfortunately, the state never built one. So we were about to release into our community somebody who just horrifically killed his stepfather by stabbing him in the face and he was going to come into Bullhead City. This wasn't easy. You'd think it would be easy. You tell the story, everyone's like, what? You're kidding. No. But, this is government, and we had to work with all the state agencies. I did call the Attorney General, and she said, this can't be, but she didn't really help us. So we, as legislators, had to do what we had to do. And I'm very happy to say that person will be off the streets until the time that they build one here in Arizona. And it's something that needs to get done, and we set it up that there's a time frame that they need to do it. So you thank Representative Biasucci and I for doing that. I'm very, very proud of that. So here are some bills. One second, I'm a little discombobulated this morning. Let me tell you what the Republican majority delivered for Arizona. And Arizona became the only state in the nation to fully adopt President Trump's tax cuts at the state level. That's roughly $1.4 billion in tax relief going back into your pockets. Starting July 1st, no state tax on tips, no tax on overtime, a higher standard deduction, a new $6,000 deduction for our seniors, and property tax relief for our disabled veterans. And speaking of that, I came here this morning, and like everyone, we celebrated, but we have some real problems in this country, and I feel it very personally, but I'm so glad I came here this morning because hearing all your stories, I want to thank those who served in our military and those who serve in government. It is not easy. People look at you and, they think they know, but they don't. I know that personally, having served on the Board of Supervisors, and I think you guys are doing an outstanding job, and I wanted to thank you for celebrating 250 in the personal way you did. It was very, very meaningful. And there were some other things, but I want to be brief, as Supervisor Borelli commanded. And if you have any questions about anything that happened this session, I would love to take them.
Thank you, Senator. Do we have any questions for Senator Angus, if he's here? Supervisor Borelli, thank you.
Thank you. And I want to thank you, Senator. You've done a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I keep wanting to call you Senator. Supervisor Borelli just mentioned, this will be my last year. I will be done on December 31st. We still have things to go back and forth on, some big important things, but for the most part, I'm done except for constituent services. And it has been the biggest honor of my life to serve my adopted home county, Mojave County, who has been so good to me. I hope I did a great job and that people look back on the years I served and said, yeah, she did a hell of a job. So thank you very much.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to reiterate something. A lot of people say, it's a part-time legislature. Yes, it's a part-time legislature when we're in session. When we were out of session, I was back and forth to Phoenix 2-3 times a month. The same with Senator Angus, because there's a lot of constituent stuff we need to follow through with and make sure that the state government is actually doing, and you're breaking through that bureaucratic resistance, so to speak. And I want to just congratulate the Senator for following that and continuing to serve, even when you're out of session, because it's still, you got to put the windshield time in. And not only are you going back and forth to Phoenix, but you're all over this 2 counties, actually 4 counties. But I want to thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Because you understand it's about service, not self.
Exactly. And anything else?
Any other comments?
Craig Sullivan, I'm sure, will have something more to say. I don't want to steal all his thunder, but it was a very productive year.
Senator Angus, I just want to say, over your length of service with both the county and the state, you've had a lot of wins. I was privileged to be able to serve with you for 4 years. You're a hard charger, and I think you'll always be that way, no matter what you decide to get involved with in the future. So I want to thank you for your contributions to Mojave County. Going down to the legislature is not an easy thing. I've been down there enough to see that it's probably not the most polished thing to say. It's kind of like a Turkish bazaar. Everybody's selling something and there's a lot of activity, and it's crazy. So thank you for going down to that environment for us. And I want to say thank you for really digging your heels in and keeping your backbone straight and remembering who brought you to the dance. There were some votes and some issues down there that, for rural legislators, there was a choice. You could either vote one way and be popular with the big city kids, or you could do what's right and remember that you serve Mojave County citizens and La Paz County citizens. I want to thank you for doing the right thing.
Right. As Supervisor Borelli knows, it's not the bills you pass. A lot of times it's the bills you kill. And I think we had a few of those that would have hurt rural Arizona.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Supervisor Martin?
Going to do,
Legislative reports?
okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, two things have been big on my radar, and one of them is South Cove, because that is a very important, not only an economic driver, but it's important from a recreational standpoint and keeping a community alive. And literally, I think Meadview is dependent on South Cove. I've already seen for sale signs popping up because people don't think that they're going to have a launch on Lake Mead. I'm here to tell you that due to Senator Angus and Representative Biasucci, we are going to have a launch down there. The county manager and I and a volunteer went to Boulder City last week to see and to meet with the company representatives on the mat that we are looking at purchasing. It's expensive, but we think it's well worth it, and it will serve the purpose that we are wanting to do, which is to keep South Cove open. So I've been down there several times to look at the area and to make sure that what we are seeing is exactly what's happening down there. And I can tell you this past weekend, the launching down there, even though it's on dirt, it was fantastic. Nobody I knew of had any problems, and that project is moving forward. Now, as I said to one constituent, you don't expect us to run into this thing with eyes wide open. $500,000 is a lot of money, and we're only going to get it one time. So that's why it's so important that we go through the process that we're going through to make sure this is the right fit. We are working with our National Park Service partners, who I got to say have been fantastic at this point, working with us and helping us see what we need to do, what they're going to do. The Park Service is going to put $2 to $3 million in infrastructure down there. That's their commitment to keeping South Cove open. What we're doing, and through, like I say, the graciousness of the state and Senator Angus and Biasucci, is we're going to follow that up. We're going to extend that out and make that available to everyone, no matter what your watercraft or your lake usages are. It's going to be there. And I'm so tickled to watch this happen. And I know we're taking baby steps to do it. But believe me, everybody that's involved in this, has been involved with it, we're doing our due diligence to make sure that when we put that mat out down there, that the people in Mojave County, and you would be surprised, the people from out of state that use South Cove as a destination for their watercraft activities, that's going to help. And I hope to see all of the for sale signs go down in Meadview, because we're not going to let that community die. The state has made a commitment, the National Park Service has made a commitment, and I have made a commitment as the District 4 Supervisor. We're going to see this through, and we're going to make it happen. So that's my big deal. My other thing, and I'm sure you're aware of, is I have been just absolutely inundated with calls from constituents who are concerned about the condition of rundown places in Mojave County. Now, we're not talking about somebody just having an extra car on their lot. We are talking about places that are absolutely vermin infested. They're unhealthy, and they're right next to homes that people, their forever homes, have built. But these people don't care. It's hard for me to believe. And I know that the word out there is I've been on some kind of tirade. I just drive around looking for these places. That's not true. These are calls from constituents. And I tell you this, I answer calls from my constituents. When they call me, whether it's about the birds chattering, a skunk in their yard, or in this case, garbage pits next to their home that's affecting their lifestyles, I'm going, and I'm going to respond. And those that don't like it, I say this to you, too bad. The other people have a right to live a quality and safe lifestyle. That's what I'm looking for. I know right now, Developmental Services has over 500 active cases. And I'll tell you this, when I'm contacted, I go out and look at them before I ever contact Developmental Services. Because I'm like Reagan, I want to trust but verify. If somebody says, I have a garbage pit, a vermin-infested place, if you come out at night, you're going to see rats and mice running everywhere. I want to see that. And I go out after hours and I do that. That's my commitment to the people in District 4. And I am not going to back away from this. I don't care how many people say to me, oh, we don't want you prowling around. Well, ma'am, sir, I'm not prowling around. I'm answering constituents' concern, and I will continue to do that as long as I'm sitting in this chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor. Supervisor Gould?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Supervisor Letman and I attended the Bullhead City Municipal Planning Organization meeting, and we led our contract for our long-range transportation plan. And that is all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Supervisor Letman?
I have nothing to report.
Thank you, sir. I'll keep it brief. Last week, the Arizona Department of Water Resources had a meeting that was sent out. I watched it over the computer. It talks about lower basin reductions and all we know so far. So I'll just go over some of my notes here. Lower basin reductions of 1.25 million acre feet annually is what's on the table right now, allocated as follows. Arizona, 760,000 acre feet. California, 440,000 acre feet. Nevada, 50,000 acre feet. Contributions may be reflected through reduced water orders or applying something called intentionally created surplus, subject to limitations. Those limitations include lower basin states to collectively limit total use of intentionally created surplus for deliveries or offset reductions over the 3-year period of 2026 to 2028, no more than 800,000 acre feet, with no more than 400,000 acre feet in any single year. Based on discussions with the United States, we expect Mexico to also take reductions of 250,000 acre feet. Mexico is considered to be a part of the lower basin. Contractors with intentionally created surplus accounts may offset inadvertent overruns in any year, subject to a 25,000 acre feet state limit, which is in addition to the limits stated above. If most probable projection of any 24-month study shows Lake Mead to be less than 1,010 feet, reclamation will consult with the lower division states for additional actions required to protect elevation 975. The lower division states intend to work collaboratively together to exceed the minimum, if possible, to target a cumulative contribution of conservation of at least 1 million acre foot a year. The lower division states' contributions are contingent on the deployment of federal funding. $354 million is anticipated from the United States towards system conservation water in the lower basin states. Cost share between federal government and lower basin wouldn't be necessary. Reclamation will account for all additional system conservation separately in its decree accounting report and will apply annual evaporation losses at 3% to the total volume. There's also going to be talk of a new conservation pool established in Lake Mead to ensure that the federal government can meet their trust obligations to the Indian tribes in Arizona. It's going to be called the Federal Water Resource Pool, which will be a federal responsibility. Arizona's tribes will contribute water to that federal water resource pool. No lower division state contribution will be required for the federal water resource pool. Some existing intentionally created surplus from the federal section of the Arizona intentionally created surplus account will be transferred to the federal water resource pool. Federal water resource pool will be accounted for within the intentionally created surplus limitations for Arizona and will not be operationally neutral. As far as releases for water year 2027, we expect a 6 million acre foot release from Powell to Mead. The 24-month study for water year 2027, Powell to Mead release will include a 1 million acre foot emergency release, which we've all read about. That's been in the papers recently. An adjustment to water year 2027, Powell to Mead release may occur in either direction, depending upon the hydrology. For water year 2028, the Powell to Mead release will be made commensurate with consultation or with an emergency release, release to Lake Powell. The target elevation for Lake Powell protection is 3,510 feet. So, in summary, Reclamation encouraged the lower division states to find a consensus proposal and provide constructive input to avoid fatal flaws, which the lower basin states, including Arizona, has done. Lower basin states continue to work with Reclamation to refine elements of the proposal, including Powell to Mead releases, intentionally created surplus. The proposal preserves the lower division states' ability to enforce legal rights. That means that they can still opt to sue after the preferred alternative, which the federal government is going through EIS process right now. They're thought to be releasing their preferred alternative this month. It's going to be strange that it's a 10-year recommendation, and they're going to require the upper division states and lower division states to reconvene every 2 years to go over the hydrology and negotiate who has to cut what. So essentially that locks in all of the states into perpetual negotiations for the future. So that's really all I have. We'll continue to update everybody. Arizona, California, Utah, they still have the ability to go to the Supreme Court if they feel like they're not getting a fair deal. So we'll see what's going to happen. But this year is there's going to be some big developments on water on the river this year, and that's all I have. County Manager's report.
The only item I have is to advise the board that I will be out of town next meeting on the 20th, and Director Steve Latowski will be acting county manager.
Thank you, Manager. We were supposed to have another presentation this morning from the County Supervisors Association. For the County Supervisors Association, I want to recognize Supervisor Alton Joe Shepard. Thank you for being here today, sir. I received a text from Craig Sullivan, who's the director of CSA, that the stretch of Interstate or US 93, between Wickiup and Wickenburg, that there was a very, very bad crash, possibly a fatality. They have closed the road. They have to turn around. So they have to reschedule. So we're sorry that has happened. We'll get you on the next agenda that you want to be on, but I just want to say thank you to you being here with us today for our meeting. Sorry about Greg ran into that difficulty today. Thank you for the work that CSA does on behalf of all of the counties, including Mojave County. Thank you very much, sir. Did you want to come up to the podium and give some remarks? It's a long ways to come, so appreciate your driving over.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Vice Chair, distinguished members, Board of Supervisors, my colleagues. It's good to be here. And yes, it was a short distance to drive for me this morning, but certainly I'm honored to be here, and I want to be here with Craig and his crew. But I want to give thanks to you. Your involvement with CSA and your partnership makes us a vital and effective collaboration. You know, I'm very grateful for the board's voice at CSA, and also like to give a special shout out to Supervisor Borelli. He serves on our Legislative Policy Committee, and we always enjoy the dialogue that they bring their experiences from the House and from the Senate to Board of Supervisors, and it's really meaningful to us. Other than that, our summit is October 6th through the 8th in Flagstaff, and it's very, very one of our most important conferences and meetings that we have as Board of Supervisors. So again, for the record, my name is Alton Joe Shepard. I am a County Board of Supervisor in Apache County and serving as this year's president of our county association here in Arizona. So again, thank you, Chairman, for allowing me to speak, and I'll give you guys thanks. And I'm on my tour right now, and I've already hit 3 other Board of Supervisors meeting, and I'm continuing to do that all the way through September. But it's my goal to hit every Board of Supervisors meeting in each county that we have here. And again, we have a lot on our plate from both sides, and we just got to make things work as we move forward. So I'm glad to have you guys there and your voice as well. So on behalf of the association, I just want to say thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. It opened up to the board. Any comments for CSA President Alton Shepard? Sir, thank you for making the journey today. Thank you for being with us, and thank you for your service.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Have a good day.
Board, we'll move to the consent agenda, which is items number 4 through 61 today. Supervisor Letman, would you like to remove any items from consent this morning?
I have no items to remove.
Thank you, sir. Supervisor Gould.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 15, 24, 36, 39, and 40.
Sir. Supervisor Borelli. And Supervisor Martin.
I was going to pull 15, but Supervisor Gould got it first.
Any other items? I'll pull item 17. Looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, minus items 15, 17, 24, 36, 39, 40.
So moved.
Second.
For that motion second, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I appear to have it. You have it, so ordered. Thank you, Board. Move to item number 15. Approve the adoption of BOS Resolution 2026-117, a rezone of assessors parcel number 306-24099B from an AR 10-acre minimum zone to a CRE commercial recreation zone to allow for a petting zoo in the Golden Valley vicinity, Mojave County, Arizona. Commission recommended approval by a 7-0 vote. Patillo declared conflict, recused himself from discussion and voting. Supervisor Gould,
I'm going to defer to Supervisor Martin. It's his
yes,
district.
Supervisor Martin.
You can start it.
Yes, I had a lot of constituent comments about this one for a lot of different reasons, and I think we should hear those comments.
Terrific.
And then at the end of those comments, I'm prepared to make a motion.
Very good. We do have several people signed up to speak on item number 15. The first being Kathy Joy. Kathy Joy, if you want to come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record. And then on deck, I'm sorry. The next on deck will be Angel Lund.
Good morning, Supervisors. Kathy Joy, Golden Valley. I am opposed to this rezone. We are trying to preserve our larger AR acreage in Golden Valley. You're all aware of that. This is not the right spot for a petting zoo. Out in the middle where there's sporadic small houses on large lots, it's just not an appropriate place. And I'd also like to know, planning and zoning, why did Colin Patillo remove himself? What was that conflict of interest? I would like to know that. Okay, please deny this. It's not the right area. A project like this belongs on 68, if at all. I don't even think we need it. We have tons of rescue areas in Golden Valley, rescue animal sanctuaries, and people can bring their children there where they can learn about petting animals, caring for animals, compassion, volunteering. Bring your children there to one of those rescues. Please deny this. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Angel Lund, you've had someone give their time, so we'll give you 5 minutes. Thank you. You'd state your name and address for the record.
Angel Lynn, 4141 North Dragoon Road, Golden Valley, Arizona. Good morning. Okay, this application is by a non-citizen, a person who doesn't live in the U.S. It appears that she came on a vacation, bought this property sight unseen in February, formed an LLC in March, 1 month later, and then filed for the change to a commercial zoning right after that, and that's what brings us here. Right now it has AR zoning, access is off of Aztec, and it is a hard 4x4 access back into where this is located. There is nothing in this area that is commercial, nothing in this area that would lead people to this area for a petting zoo. During the planning and zoning meeting, she mentioned when asked about the animals, sheep, goats, donkeys, very hesitant on what, but she was very straightforward in saying she wanted an RV park, have food trucks there, and a venue. This is not what we need. This is not the place for it. This is not a person who lives in our area. There's no fire hydrants out there. There's no water or a well. 4x4 access. There is nothing in that area that would bring people. The only reason I can see why this person who doesn't even live here and doesn't plan on living here, because she has 2 large venues in Germany and a website on Facebook for them, the only reason I can see is that she wants the commercial zoning so she can sell it to somebody else and make a big profit. This is not what we need here. This is only 10 acres in the middle of nowhere. And if you know the area, there's nothing there. No one's going to come there. No one's going to drive off of 68. People hardly even stop in Golden Valley, much less come all the way there to see animals they can see in our backyard. And if she's talking about wild animals and not living there, we need to know about that too. I think it's just a money-making fund. Or anyway, money-making has nothing to do with having a petting zoo and moving here and having a nice little area. This is not what it appears to be. And I don't know why Patello removed himself. Is he involved in this too, to get the commercial zoning? There's something going on that we don't know about. Please deny this. Thank you.
Patrick Devlin. Jennifer Esposito, you're on deck.
Hello, I'm Patrick Devlin of 2282 South Verde Road in Golden Valley. I live about 1 to 2 miles west of this proposed rezone, and I'm asking that's denied. Right now, it's currently in one of the most rural areas of Golden Valley, and that's why we moved here. I don't want to see businesses going up right in our neighborhood, so please deny the rezone. And I'm also concerned that they want to do RV hookups and like what others have said about selling the land to put up a bigger business with the rezone. Please deny the rezone. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Jennifer Esposito.
Thank you, Jennifer Esposito, Kingman, Golden Valley property owner. I think petting zoos are awesome if they're actual petting zoos. Love to see some camels, maybe, right? Celebrate the whole camel corps, the Fort Bill, and the history. But the problem with this is that the zoning that they're asking for would allow a motel to be built, a restaurant to be built, a gift shop, I think, that would allow you to sell trinkets to tourists. When you open up the zoning, you have no guarantee, there's no guardrails on this project, that this property owner isn't going to get commercial zoning and then turn around and sell it to someone who's not going to open a petting zoo. I mean, if there was some sort of caveat in there that said, yes, you open a petting zoo within 24 months with one residential caretaker property to make sure the animals are fed and watered, or so, I don't think anybody would complain about that, because Golden Valley is full of basically retired people with adult petting zoos, me being one of them. My husband wanted an adult petting zoo. I bought him one. So I don't have a problem with people, exposing the public to animals, but nobody is entitled to a rezone. I've said this on multiple properties. You are only entitled to the zoning you have when you bought the property. And I wonder if this particular project wouldn't be better suited for something like a conditional use permit or something. Maybe if you really are serious about the petting zoo thing, or maybe, any kind of rezone shouldn't transfer if the property is sold on some of these projects. Because I was here when this board said you only want a commercial on the highway. Me? I don't know if I would have said that. I think that Shinnerump near Oatman Highway, near the freeway, is actually a viable commercial thing because it's the Arizona Peace Trail. I'm thinking long term. But if you guys said you only want a commercial on the highway, then you're going to look like a bunch of hypocrites if you vote for commercial off the highway. Just saying. Thank you.
That's the last speaker that we have. Wizard Martin.
Yes, I agree with this. A petting zoo and the whole operation looks to me it's kind of unsettling, I'll say. And I understand what Ms. Esposito is talking about too. We wanted commercial on 68. That's what we want. We've got that. And now we're going to be inundated, I think, with people wanting to put commercial hither and yon. And we have to put our foot down and say, well, we're going to do this, we're not. And in this situation, my thought and my vote will be, I would vote to deny this.
Is that a motion?
I would make a motion to deny.
I'll second that motion, but I have a
motion.
comment.
Any additional discussion?
Is the applicant available?
Is the applicant in the audience? Would you wish to speak on this?
Apparently
Does
not.
not appear that the applicant is present.
Mr. Chairman.
Supervisor Gould.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you give the CRE zoning, the other uses of this without a special use permit are parks, camps, golf courses, hotels, motels, RV parks, schools, churches, hospitals, and those are all without a special use permit. If you look at with a special use permit, it's even more.
Thank you, Supervisor.
That was my concern.
We do have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes appear to have it, do have it, so ordered. Thank you, Board. We'll move to item number 17. I pulled item number 17 simply because we have somebody that wishes to speak. Approve the adoption of U.S. Resolution 2026-119 for Assessors Parcel 206-25001 to allow for a 90-foot tall freestanding sign and to exceed the maximum square footage of sign area in a CMO, commercial manufacturing open lot storage zone in the Yucca vicinity, Mojave County, Arizona. Commission recommended approval by unanimous vote. Matt Brady, you'd come to the podium. You state your name and address for the record, please. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Matt Brady, representing Patrick Signs in Las Vegas, 5115 South Harville. Truthfully, I was just looking to speak if you guys had any questions.
Great. We'll keep you at the podium then. I'm not sure if this is your district, Supervisor Gould, or if it's Supervisor.
It says Yucca area, but I actually believe it's in Supervisor
I was
Martin's
not
district.
certain. Supervisor Martin? I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
For that motion, second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes appear to have it. Do have it. So ordered. Thank you, Board. Move to item number 24. Approve and sign amendment number 7 to contract 24-P-03 janitorial services, county facilities in Lake Havasu City with Newbie Services, LLC, doing business as Spruce Goose Janitorial, Lake Havasu City, Arizona, modifying the scope of services to add section 6.4, which covers charges for additional routine/emergency cleaning, with all other terms and conditions remaining the same. Supervisor Gould?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wonder if I could get Director Acton to come up.
Morning, Director Acton.
Good morning.
So $100 an hour for the janitor?
I believe that is their fully loaded rate. So this amendment came about, there was a situation where we had to ask janitorial staff to do some additional, contracted janitorial staff to do some additional cleanup in one of the library, I believe it was one of the library bathrooms. And then they came back to us and said that was not part of their routine cleanup. So this is for in those situations where we ask them to work outside of their normal work, that they can bill us at that $100 per hour for extra work.
I was reading the contract and it seemed like that was additional work and or emergency cleanup. And I can see the $100 rate for if you had to call somebody in on an emergency basis to do that cleanup work, but I can't see having them do 15 minutes worth of work beyond their regular scope at $100 an hour.
We were intending to write it in a way that would allow for extringent work. I'm trying to find the tactful way to say people make bad messes in bathrooms.
Sure.
And so it really is intended to be work beyond what is considered routine work. It's not something that we expect will come up often. This contract's been in place now for 3 years, and this is the first time we've had the issue. We just want to give the vendor the opportunity that if they do need to ask their employees to work with contaminated waste, things like that, that there is an option for them to bill us if it's above and beyond their normal work.
It just seems like the $100 an hour rate is exorbitant, even if it's fully burdened. My company bills $85 an hour. We send out a guy in a truck with $40,000 worth of tools, and a guy that's done an apprenticeship and might have 10, 20 years experience at $85 an hour versus a janitor, and we get $130 on overtime. I find this hard to believe that their $100 rate is their fully burdened rate with a reasonable amount of profit.
And I think where we're struggling, and if the board would like us to try and negotiate further, this was a couple months in processing, but we can try to negotiate further. The contract itself is generally priced per square foot. And so we were trying to find a way to capture what that would be. But if the board doesn't want to sign this amendment, we can go back to the vendor and see if we can get them to reduce their rate more.
What I would like to see is a rate for additional work at the site and a rate for bringing somebody in on a special incident. I think that would be more fair. If you pull somebody in, if they show up, you've got to work them for 4 hours. You're paying them for 4 hours, whether there's 4 hours worth of work or not. Mm-hmm. So I could see that being at a higher rate. But if you're going to say this is going to take me another hour,
I'm going to stay late.
Yeah, I'm going to stay late. I think that's a little different.
Okay.
Understood. And since this isn't going to bid, it's just an add-on to a contract. I'd like to see a little further negotiation.
Understood.
And I make that in the form of a motion.
Second that. Additional discussion? Supervisor Borelli, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Alton, these contracts are pretty much light janitorial work, the scope of work, routine, light janitorial. And this is for emergency in case somebody's basically a nice biological spill or some sort. They need this cost. Is this what we're trying to cover here?
Essentially, yeah. We had a situation where I think at one of the libraries that somebody intentionally made a mess of the bathroom and they were asked to clean it up and they got a lot of pushback from their employees. And so this is us trying to correct that.
And this is far beyond light janitorial, empty the garbage
Correct.
cans and a quick
Yeah,
mop job.
The standard janitorial services is, office janitorial, and then they do some restocking of the bathrooms and regular cleanup of the bathrooms, but not of that nature.
Okay, thank you.
Director Acton, looking at the attachment, it says, if during the normal or emergency call out, following hourly charges will apply in addition to daily fees. 15 minutes, $25, 30 minutes, $50, 45 minutes, $75, 60 minutes, $100. The issue requires more than 1 hour additional time. Contractor is to notify the county for further instructions. I'll be careful not to ask questions that I don't want the answers to, but how do you document?
So that would be the county's contract rep. They would work closely with the county's contract rep. And if they didn't reach out to the county's contract rep, it wouldn't be an authorized expense.
Very good. We have a motion and a second. Call one more time. Any additional discussion? Madam Clerk, would you read the motion? It's Supervisor Gould's motion back into the record.
Move to send the contract amendment back for further negotiation, asking staff to separate the rate for additional work at the site during normal time from the rate for bringing someone in for a special incident, biological contaminated cleanup. The flat rate of $100 per hour seems to be excessive.
Thank you, ma'am. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
No. Motion fails. We'd entertain another motion if there is one.
Mr. Chairman.
Supervisor Borelli.
Motion to approve.
For that motion, do I have a second? Any additional discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Supervisor Gould, thank you, sir.
I know a lot of plumbers, and plumbers deal with the same stuff and not at $100 an hour. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any additional discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
No. I'll vote aye. I appear to have it, do have it. It's ordered. We'll move to item number 36. Approve utilization of Arizona State Cooperative Contract for drones, remotely operated devices, unmanned aerial vehicles, and related goods and services with RJE Oceanbotics, Irvine, California, for the purchase of an underwater drone, training, and accessories in the amount of $114,998.40. Further, approve continued use of the cooperative contract for future related purchases through November 6, 2029, should the state exercise all available renewal options. On behalf of the Sheriff's Office, the initial purchase price is based on the PSA 782601. Future purchases will be made in accordance with the adopted budget funds per fiscal year as applicable. Supervisor Gould.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Atten, is this grant money or is this general fund money?
Thank you, Chairman. Supervisor, yes, this is grant funded for the Sheriff's Office.
That's all the questions I have at this time, but I think you had members of the public that request to speak.
Yes, sir. We do have a few members of the public that have signed up to speak on this. The first being Chuck DeShazer. If you want to come up to the podium, please. State your name and address for the record. Second would be Logan Marsh.
Yes, my name is Chuck DeShazer, 8778 Polaris Road, Topak, Arizona. I'm really neutral on this issue, but I contacted a resident of this area that has been a 35-year commercial diver to see what his thoughts on it were, to find out what we're really looking at. I have questions that I know you can't answer while I'm here, but what is this going to be used for? This is a drone that goes down to over 1,000 feet, has a tether line that's effectively 550 feet. There's enough to get caught on the bottom. We're going to have to hire divers to go get it unstuck to begin with. You guys say it's grant money. I don't really care where the money comes from. It's still coming out of my pocket somewhere. I know that. And so I would just ask that you get questions answered before you spend $115,000, $6,000 of which is going to the state of Arizona in sales tax. Anything that this drone can do, a commercial diver is probably going to have to go back in after the drone, whether to pick it up off the bottom or to pick up whatever you're looking at. Unless this drone is going to be used for picking up sunglasses that are very expensive and gold chains that get lost by our California natives that come to our lake, to repay the cost of $115,000, I would suggest you think another way. Thank you.
Logan Marsh. Diana Francis, you're on deck.
Good afternoon, supervisors. It's been a while. My biggest concern is I'm not opposed to any public safety tool, especially in the specific purchase for an underwater drone used for rescue or recovery purposes or evidence location or any type of emergency responses. But this agenda item appears, if it's approved, it's a board cooperative contract that includes drones, remotely operated devices, and unmanned aerial vehicles. And that's the creative language that I noticed when I saw this. So my question is because aerial drones raise Fourth Amendment privacy concerns, and if used over private property, yard, and other protected areas, I want clarification before this is approved. Does the Sheriff's Office currently have a written drone use policy? Does that cover warrant requirements, private property surveillance, aerial drone use, footage retention, access to recordings, public records handling, and future aerial UAV purchases under the same contract would that come back for board approval? The way that the language is written here, it seems to be a pretty broad approval. My concern is not blocking underwater rescue or recovery tools. My concern is making sure the county has constitutional guardrails in place before approving such contracts for such vehicles. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Diana Francis, excuse me.
Supervisor, all of you, and the chairman, I appreciate the time to speak. So I'm against spending money we don't have. I wasn't aware that it's a grant. And as Chuck said, grant money still comes out of our pocket some way, somehow. And I'm also concerned about violating privacy of people's property. So both things are very real concern. And I'm very much against spending money we don't have. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, ma'am. I believe Sheriff Schuster is online. Can we bring him up and let's get it directly from the Sheriff's Office about what this is?
Good morning. Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, very good. Before we get into the item, I do want to say that I truly appreciate the wonderful tribute that our board did for our nation this year. I, too, am extremely proud to live in the greatest nation in the world, and you did an excellent job. I also want to report that we had a very successful 4th of July holiday weekend. Many, many visitors, as can be anticipated, showed up on our lakes and rivers and our towns and our communities. And overall, it was a very safe weekend. We had no fatalities, no major incidents, and the crowds were, for the most part, well behaved. So very excited about that. Some great questions came up. I'm very thankful they came up because I always look forward to an opportunity to explain what we do and why we do it. In regards to this item, our boating program is one of the busiest boating programs in the nation. I have a great deal of respect and appreciation for the deputies who are out in the elements, working the lakes and rivers here in Mojave County. They do a tremendous job. They probably hold a special place in my heart because I too did watercraft enforcement for close to 20 years. Our boating program, not just the equipment, but the majority of our boating program is grant funded. And I think it's important to understand that when you're dealing with grants, this is not additional tax to our citizens. Yes, we all pay at the end of the day, but if we don't go after the grant funding, it's already been allocated and someone else is going to take it. So we're not asking for extra money out of any local taxation, and we pursue grants very, very diligently. In fact, since I've been in office, we brought in over $30 million in grant funding alone, and that's vital. So when we get to this item, I don't know the verbiage. That's the company's verbiage, and that's how procurement writes it up. We are buying an underwater ROV system. It's a highly technical computing system. It has up to a 350-foot lead. This is for use, unfortunately, mostly for recovery purposes. And it's something that we must do. And I know when we have major incidents where a loved one is missing and the beaches are lined with family members, we can't find that person quick enough. And when you have the ability to use equipment, and this particular piece of equipment comes with sonar, so we can actively track and locate objects underwater and then send the camera down to verify that, which greatly enhances our recovery time. We've seen extremely great results with this type of system. We have one, we've been using one for years, but it's antiquated and it's no longer working. Just a point of interest, it's not just here in Mojave County. Our boating program has been asked to go all over the state and out of state to assist with body recovery because they're very good at what they do. And we were recently asked to go up to Lake Mead to look for a potential person who was missing, and that depth was prohibitive. We couldn't get down to the bottom. We were ineffective. So one has nothing to do with the other, but this camera would have worked very well in that situation, and I'm sold on the equipment. The sonar alone is fantastic because it does pinpoint underwater targets very, very accurately. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Sheriff. I'd open it up to the board for questions. Supervisor Gould?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sheriff, one of the questions that came up was, do we have a drone use procedure or policy for aerial drones?
We do, and we do use aerial drones mainly for search and rescue at this time, and also major incident crimes. But all of our operators have licensing, and they follow the policy. I would hope by now that the public knows we are very much in support of our Constitution. We're not looking to violate rights or use equipment inappropriately. But if it benefits what we need to do, we're going to go after that equipment, and we're going to use it appropriately every time. So yes, we do have a couple drones.
And I would also think that the underwater drone would eliminate us spending that money on aerial drones.
Depending on the circumstance, Supervisor Gould, underwater drones are very beneficial to locate objects quickly. In years past, before this technology was available, we would spend a tremendous amount of funding on putting 10, 12, 14 divers in the water over the course of a week, just doing spot checks, trying to run local grids, and it was very, very hit and miss. So when you see new equipment come onto the market, like this particular unit, in the boating community, we're excited because we know the benefit of it. We know the capability. And so, again, that it's grant funded is very important to me because I can't overstate, because this has come up many times. And I really hope the listeners and the folks in the audience understand grants are pre-funded. When a grant comes available, that is tax money or whatever funding came out, and it's put into a pocket of use. It's they say this is going to be going for A, B, or C. Well, when a waterways grant comes available and we chase that grant and we're successful, and the reason we're successful is we have a very well-renowned boating program and they understand our needs. So when we get this grant funding, it's additional funding that our local taxpayers are not contributing to. If we didn't go after it, the money would simply be grabbed by another entity. That's what I'm trying to explain. So thank you for that question.
Sure, and I remember times when it's been several weeks to recover dead bodies in the Colorado River, so I'm sure this will be beneficial.
Absolutely.
If there's no other questions,
I'll call for questions, and then any other questions? Supervisor Borelli?
Motion to approve.
I got a couple questions for you. Sheriff, are you still on the line?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I, for one, I'll take the grants because we have people that come here in droves from California and all these other places, and they're coming here. A percentage of them will do something stupid that requires search and rescue or your staff to go out, and right now they're just recreating for free. They don't contribute to anything as far as covering the public safety bill. So I'll take those grants. My question is, when it comes to depths under the water and the amount of time that this equipment can stay under the water versus a diver, is there is there impacts that are positive?
Chairman Lingenfelter, great question, and absolutely. When we put divers in the water, number one, the biggest concern is their safety. That's always been paramount to us. And they're only allotted so much time underwater, and they're only allotted so much time at certain depths. So without getting into it, a drone like this can be run 24/7, scanning the bottom. But more importantly, when you have a starting point, you would think it's very simple. Someone went down in this area, go find them. If you're not close, you're going to have a really difficult time. So the drone has the ability with the sonar to locate specific objects. Maybe one day I'll come in and I'll give a demonstration on how it works in front of the board, because it's very, very good software. You can actually see, a lot. You can see a lot. So, but the point being is, it's much better to have access and use of that drone underwater than to consistently be putting divers at risk over a long period of time. So, great question. And can I add one thing, Chairman?
Sure. Go ahead.
I wanted to point out, we talk about grants, and our boating program, I brag on them. I believe in them. They do a great job, but we don't have a lot of staffing. That's been a big issue on the patrol side and the waterway side for years. This year, I got with Representative Biasucci, and there's a grant fund. It's called LESBIT. It's a Law Enforcement Boating Safety Fund, and that fund is comprised of boating registration. That registration is then broken out into percentages, and at the end of the day, all county sheriffs that have waterways within their jurisdiction get a piece of that pie. So we do get money from that, but we have the highest use, so I've been, looking for years to increase that amount. This year, with the help of Representative Biasucci, we were able to change the formula. What that means is Arizona Game and Fish reduced their portion for monitoring the grant, therefore putting more money into the pot. And then we changed the formula to where Mojave County is basically doubling its funding this year without hurting the other sheriffs in order to augment our boating program. This is the type of stuff we do behind the scenes that's so vital, because I don't enjoy coming to the board every year asking for funding, but if I can find grant funding to augment resources, equipment, we're going to continue to do that. And I just wanted to thank Representative Biasucci and Senator Angus. At the end, when it got to the third read, I was a little nervous, and it actually did not pass. And they came forward and said, no, read it again. And they read it again, and it did pass, and it got signed by the governor, so we're good to go. Just wanted to point that out to the public.
Thank you. It looks like Director Acton has some additional testimony. Then we'll go to Supervisor Gould, who's going to make a motion.
Thank you, Chairman Linkenfelter. I just wanted to clarify the sneaky language is not sneaky language. It's a state contract. The title, drones, remotely operated devices, unmanned aerial vehicles, and related goods and services, is just the title of the contract. Our intent is to use this to purchase the underwater drone. The reason that we've asked for the blanket approval to continue using the co-op for future purchases is if we need to purchase replacement parts or any components related to this, or if the sheriff's office gets any additional grant funds that could be used in this way. We're not doing anything sneaky here. Being that this initial purchase exceeds my authority, I'm just asking for the board to approve our continued use of this specific co-op for any future purchases that are related to this drone purchase.
Thank you for clarifying the language, Director Acton. Supervisor Gould.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Motion to approve.
Do I have a motion? Supervisor Martin? Yes.
Real quick.
Yes, sir.
Question. The training, Sheriff, this is high-tech equipment. Is the company going to provide training to your staff to use this? Because if it's high-tech, it really needs the company to come back and train people. Are you guys going to be able to be trained on this?
Chairman, Supervisor Martin, yes, the company does provide training. It's extensive training, and before we deploy, we certainly have a good understanding of how it works. And we have the benefit of having systems like this in the past, so I don't think the training will be a hurdle for us. In fact, I believe that with the amount of use we've had in the past, it'll just augment what they tell us will just augment what we know. But thank you for the question.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions? We have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed? Ayes appear to have it. Do have it so ordered. Thank you, board. Move to item number 39. Approve and sign, quote, 3683-297, the subscription service agreement and customer agreement with Motorola Solutions, Chicago, Illinois, in accordance with the Mojave County Procurement Code. Article 3, Section 8, competition impracticable for up to a 5-year term. For a total 5-year commitment of $154,938.60, plus applicable taxes on behalf of the Sheriff's Office. Continuation of services each fiscal year will be subject to adopted budgeted funds per fiscal year. Supervisor Gould.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A member of the public wish to testify on this.
Yes, thank you, sir. We do have one member of the public that signed up, Mr. Chuck DeShazer. If you want to come up, state your name and address for our clerk. Thank you.
Yes, Chuck DeShazer, 8778 Topak, or 8 Polaris Road, Topak, Arizona. The question I had on this is not grant funded, I guess, so it would be coming out of our budget for over $30,000 per year. And it's reading the backup, it looks like we're basically just supplying software through Motorola for what every police officer seems to already have on their telephone to get them to wherever they need to go. It's a GPS, GIS system, unless they can explain something that's special about this that goes into, background checks and stuff like that at certain addresses or anything else. I don't see a reason why we need to be spending $150,000, which is more than a person I know just bought a house for under $100,000 in Golden Shores. It's very livable and not an eyesore like Mr. Don Martin might go out and check on. So, hey, the public can complain anytime to Development Services. They just have to now give their name, Mr. Martin. Anyway, those were my comments and concerns, is that we don't need to be spending this if we don't have to, because my phone and every other phone out there will tell you how to get to where you need to go, if that's what this is for.
Thank you, sir. Supervisor Gould?
If the sheriff's still on the line, we can get the sheriff to explain this.
Certainly. Sheriff Schuster, are you still with us?
Yeah, yes, I am. Thank you, Chairman, Supervisor Gould. I have my communications supervisor on the line, but I will tell you that Motorola is a major component of our entire networking system at the Sheriff's Office, from records management on down. They routinely have updates. They have different patches that seem to benefit. And as you recall, we just purchased 100 new portable radios through Motorola, using funds that were offset through ARPA and through the state. So we were happy to be able to get that done. But communication is vital, and we're not going to, skimp, and we're certainly going to make sure that our deputies have the ability to communicate in the field. But I believe Miss Carlson is on the line. Michaela, are you on the line with us?
Yes, sir, I am here.
Okay, would you go ahead and explain in detail what this is about, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So Chairman, Board, I thank you for allowing me to speak. So this item is really a renewal of an agreement that we've had in place with Motorola. This allows us to work directly with Motorola on updating our GIS, or Geographic Information System. And it goes well beyond just a GPS type of program. What this does is it allows us to update our system with any new addresses that come in, any movements that get changed or zones that get changed. It allows us to update address points and road center lines. That goes into the county GIS program, and also updates on the 911 side as well. So this data is very crucial to us in making sure that we're pinpointing exactly where these incidents are happening and where our deputies do respond to. So the $30,000 or just under $31,000 per year allows us to have a checks and balances system with Motorola, so that we can work alongside them to ensure that our system is good to go, that our server and software is completely up to date. And if there's any issues that are coming in or any concerns that we identify, we're able to work directly with Motorola to get that resolved in a timely manner so that we can effectively respond to the community.
Thank you, Michaela. Any questions, board?
Supervisor Gould?
So, Sheriff, this is integrated with your current communication system.
Mr. Chairman, Supervisor Gould, yes, it is, 100%.
So it's not Google that gets the name of my street wrong.
Supervisor Gould, it's much more extensive than that. I think Michaela did a wonderful job explaining it. As the county grows, we want to make sure that if somebody calls for help, we can pinpoint their location if they're not able to give it. And this is something that all law enforcement does, not just here in Arizona, but across the country. And I will say Motorola has a big footprint in law enforcement. It's very interconnected. And so when they come up with things like this, especially in this situation, this is more of a continuation of what we've always done. So you have to, unfortunately, we're in a service business and things cost money. So we try and do what we can to save funds. But at the end of the day, this is very necessary and very needed.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Director Acton, you have something to testify?
Thank you, Chairman. I just wanted to provide some clarification on why this is coming to the board and why now. So this is a service that the sheriff has budgeted for and has had for 35 years in some iteration. It was an agreement from 30 years ago, and then every year it's been essentially a one-year renewal agreement, which falls within my authority. I directed my staff in accordance with our procurement code and trying to get all of our software agreements updated to reach out to Motorola and actually get an updated agreement with up to a 5-year term that has clear terms and conditions that would allow us to trying to think, non-renew is the word, notice of non-renewal with at least 30 days notice. So this is part of our overall process of trying to clean up these like legacy software agreements. It makes business sense. It's something that the sheriff's office has had budgeted for years and is a vital service for them. It's just us cleaning up the contracts so that we're managing these contracts.
Supervisor Gould?
Motion to approve.
Second.
For that motion, second. Any additional discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed? Ayes appear to have it. Do have it. So ordered. Item number 40. Approve and sign amendment number 2. Contract number 2026-128-CTR, Kingman Fiber installation completion with Walker Service Electric, authorizing the replacement of damaged fiber as essential work necessary for project completion, increasing the contract value by $17,034.20 for a revised contract value of $129,952.87 on behalf of Information Technology. Funding for the increase will be sourced to Information Technology budgeted funds. Supervisor Gould.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Acton, I was wondering, why is this ours when it's out in the street?
I'm not sure that I understand your question, so I'll give you a summary
the
of the
damaged
project.
cable is out in the street hanging from poles.
It's our project, though. This is specifically the project that's connecting county facilities. It was initially an ARPA project. The contractor went bankrupt. As part of the replacement contract with Walker Service Electric, we asked them to test all existing fiber. This was an area where they found that there was some damaged fiber, which does happen in these projects. This is just enabling and being able to pay them to repair that fiber. But it's our project connecting county facilities.
So I remembered it being an ARPA project. Did we run out of ARPA money to complete the project?
We had expended all ARPA funds, and so this is using the IT funds. We had known, actually, when we awarded the project, there was anticipation that the IT department would take on any additional expenses as part of their capital projects. And so when we awarded this contract, it was not with ARPA funds, it was with IT funds.
Because the prime contractor didn't finish the project.
It's a little bit of both. It was anticipated even in that award, if we were to finish it, that any contingency transfers would require IT funds. We didn't have enough ARPA funding to complete the entire project at the outset.
So we picked up the contract with the existing subcontractor and had
Yeah,
him
he was
complete
the
project.
prime sub that did the majority of the work. It made more sense to let them come in and finish the work because they were
Sure.
involved in it.
Yeah, they were the ones that did the work in the first place. Thank you.
Any additional discussion? Supervisor Martin?
I'm concerned about the damage. Who is responsible for damage? If they do damage during the installation, my thought would be, why wouldn't the contractor be held responsible?
Because the contractor doesn't exist anymore. The contractor has dissolved their business. So this was
So
part
we
of
have
our.
nobody to hang the bill on.
No,
except us.
we had discussed this actually during executive session when it first happened. This is us trying to go in and finish a project that was left incomplete because the contractor filed for bankruptcy.
Okay.
Any additional discussion? Supervisor Gould, thank you, sir.
Motion to approve.
For that motion, do I have a second? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes appear to have it. You have it. It's ordered. That does it for the consent agenda today. We'll move to public hearings. First public hearing we have is item number 62. I'm going to open the public hearing on item number 62. Discussion, possible action, approve the adoption of BOS resolution number 2026-120, a special use permit for assessor's parcel number 402-32-240 to allow for an 80-foot tall freestanding sign and to exceed the maximum square footage of sign area in a C2H and C2H2A zone in the Desert Springs vicinity, Mojave County, Arizona. Commission recommended approval via roll call vote 4-3 with the condition that the sign square footage area shall not exceed twice the size as allowed per the Mojave County zoning ordinance. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak on item number 62? We have nobody that's formally signed up. Is there anyone wishing to speak during the public hearing on item number 62? Going once, going twice. I'm going to close the public hearing on item number 62. Director, Matt, Mr. Gunderson, you want to come up? Give a general overview of this?
Thank you, Chairman, Supervisors. I did want to provide a little clarification and transparency on this item. When this was at the Planning and Zoning Commission, during the meeting, there were questions about the actual proposed size of the currently proposed sign. As staff was doing those calculations kind of on the fly during that meeting, they gave an incorrect number. So they told the commission that the proposed sign was, I believe, about 1,600 square feet. The proposed sign is actually about 980 square feet. So when the commission making that decision, we're going off of that 1,600 square feet estimation. I just wanted to clarify that that was incorrect. It is about 980 square feet from the documentation that we've received. But this is along I-15 through the Arizona Strip area. We do have in our zoning ordinance a provision that allows for an increase to a size, or height or size of a on-site sign for businesses along federally identified interstates with a special use permit.
Thank you. Any questions? Supervisor Lettman, thank you.
Mr. Gunderson, so I drove through Desert Springs last Wednesday, and it looks like there's already some very big signs there. How does this one compare to what's already on site?
Thank you, Chairman Lingenfelter, Supervisor Lettman. So there are billboards that are out there already. This is a separate process from a billboard. So we've had 2 requests for special use permits for this type of sign in that area. The first was for a TA. This was back in June of 2022. That special use permit was approved by the board, allowed for a 100-foot tall sign with no expansion to the allowed area. I believe that sign is about 500 square feet. That's the maximum allowable area that you can get for a sign. The other was for the Maverick that's up off of that same exit. Maverick applied for a special use permit came to the board in January of 2023. They also requested a 100-foot tall sign, but they also requested an increase in the area of about 1,000 square feet. There was opposition from some of the residents that lived adjacent to that, and that special use permit was denied by the board.
Board, this is my district. Those 2 signs that were just referenced, they went in before the citizens, several citizens up there. They went around with petitions. They collected signatures. We have something called a scenic byway that's along that section of I-15 in the Arizona Strip. Those signs went in before those citizens went out and mobilized and collected petitions, signatures, and then it came back to the board. Those signatures were turned into the board, and we voted to reinsert that section of Interstate 15 into the scenic byway program. So I've received several citizens that were part of that citizen initiative process. They don't wish to see the scenic byway further eroded with additional signs after they've gone to the hard work to make their desires known. So I'm going to make a motion to deny this.
Second.
Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I appear to have it, do have it, so ordered. Thank you. We're going to open the public hearing on item number 63. Discussion, possible action, approve the adoption of BOS Resolution number 2026-121, a rezone of assessors parcels number 32908 453, 459, 473, 502, and 503 from an R1 1A to an AR agricultural residential zone to allow for RVs as temporary residences in the White Hills vicinity, Mojave County, Arizona. Commission recommended approval by 7-1 vote. We have nobody that's signed up officially to speak during the public hearing on item number 63. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak during the public hearing on item number 63? Going once, going twice. I'm going to close the public hearing on item number 63. Supervisor Martin, I believe this is your district.
Yeah, here's my thought. Is this, Matt, is this one of those areas up there that were rezoned in the 60s and now it's coming up again? Is this one of those deals?
Chairman Lingenfelter, Supervisor Martin, yes, that's correct. So this area up in White Hills, was zoned back in, I believe it's 1968, was the zoning was put in place of the R1 1A. So it allows, it's 1 acre lots, but requires, you can't have an RV as a temporary residence as the only residence on the property. In this area, we've had several properties over the past few years now come in and rezone to the agricultural residential zone to allow for those agricultural residential uses, farm animals, as well as the ability to get that temporary RV permit.
Okay. With that, I make. Rinaldi, you got
additional discussion?
Okay.
Nope, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd make a motion to approve.
For that motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes appear to have it. You have it. To order. Thank you, board. We're going to open the public hearing on item number 64. Discussion, possible action, approve the adoption of BOS Resolution 2026-122, an amendment to the Mojave County General Plan from an RDA, Rural Development Area, land use designation to an SDA, Suburban Development Area, and a rezone of a portion of assessor's parcel number 317-04-296E from an AR5 zone to an AR zone to allow for a minor land division in the Dolan Springs vicinity, Mojave County, Arizona. Commission recommended approval by unanimous vote. Nobody signed up to speak officially on the during the public hearing on item number 64. Is there anyone in the audience present wishing to speak during the public hearing on item number 64? Going once, going twice. Going to close the public hearing on item number 64. Supervisor Martin?
Yes. Matt, can you come up and give us a little background on this?
Chairman Lingenfelter, Supervisor Martin. So this is a rezone for a minor land division. There are other similar sized 1 acre lots in the vicinity. We didn't receive any letters of opposition for this one, but because it has the general plan amendment component, it's required for a public hearing for the board.
Okay. With that motion to approve?
For that motion, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes appear to have it. Do have it. So ordered. Thank you, board. We're going to open the public hearing on item number 65. Discussion, possible action, approve the adoption of BOS Resolution 2026-123, an amendment to the Mojave County General Plan from an RDA land use designation to a general commercial land use designation and a rezone of assessors parcels 215-02-032A, 047A from an AR2A zone to a C1 zone to allow for a rural mini-mart store and caretaker's quarters in the Golden Valley vicinity, Mojave County, Arizona. Commission recommended approval by unanimous vote. We have several people that have signed up to speak during the public hearing, first being Angel Lund. Kathy Joy, you're on deck.
Angel Lund, 4141 North Dragoon Road, Golden Valley. This property, you would come off of I-40 and down Shinnerum. It is on the left side of the street, and so truck traffic would have to turn left off of Shinnerum. There's no turns there, there's no turn lanes, anything like that. This property also appears to be about 5 acres. And when you take that into account with the truck traffic and the cars and everything else, there's not enough room for trucks to park. So I'm worried about trucks having to park along a Shinnerum, causing accidents, stopping in the middle of the highway or road, as well as the neighbors. There is a residence right next to this property. It also doesn't have water, and according to this plan, it looks like they're planning on water haul or a mini mart, because there is a supply, water supply, looks like tank, and access for a water truck. This is not a good place for that. The left turn off of Shinnerum, we already have a lot of accidents off of Shinnerum. I-40, you know what it's like down in the Yucca area with the truck traffic there and the accidents that happen just because of the restaurant and the truck stop there. Sure, we need another truck stop, but 5 acres is not going to do it. We need another store. 5 acres isn't going to do it with the traffic that comes off I-40 having to turn left. This is not a good idea. Also, this is not a local person. This is a person, a development company from Simi Valley, California. So take that into consideration too. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Kathy Joy, and then Jennifer, you're on deck.
Hello again, Supervisors. Kathy Joy, Golden Valley. I'm also opposed to this. Everything that Angel said, I'm very worried about the truck, the big semi-truck traffic there. It's a residential area there. My family lives right off of Shinnerum. They're very worried about it. My daughter drives that road at 4 o'clock in the morning to get to work in Kingman. I'm very, very concerned about it. Also, KTH, the lady Kathy from KTH Consultants, at the Planning and Zoning meeting, she mentioned that it's mostly going to be from workers from Harmony so they can run up and get a soda or a snack. Well, when I go anywhere, I bring a cooler with me. I have my lunch, I have snacks, I have beverages there. Let the workers bring a cooler. This is not a good spot for that. Please deny it. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Jennifer Esposito. And again, you are only entitled to the zoning that you purchase. My concern is more with the general commercial, the other commercial. The difference mainly being that the general commercial zoning would allow for a bar, would also allow for alcohol sales. That's one of the differences between, because part of the property they're asking for general commercial, and the other part of the property or something they're asking for, what is it, commercial residential or commercial, whatever it is. So, you know, I don't think it's needed, because Crazy Fred's truck stop is just the other side of the freeway. I mean, if you really want to go grab chips and a 6-pack of soda, it's not like you have to go very far to do it. But you know, the water haul thing I think is of concern. I just think this is, if this is really about Harmony at Golden Valley, I think it's kind of putting the cart before the horse, because You know, if you're going to build 300 and something homes, maybe you should bring in infrastructure for your own employees. I do think that, you know, long term, we do need to look at Shinnerup because it is part of the Peace Trail about what kinds of development this board or any future board would like to see going forward. Because, you know, it is part of the Peace Trail. You do have people on ATVs. I'm sure that that will expand over time. You know, there might be cause for like a tire shop or a repair shop. There is a lot of people between Shinnerup and Oatman Highway that don't have any access to anything. But I'm just not sure that this is the right thing at the right time. And, you know, they're welcome to bring it back in a year. And I, you know, but I just, again, I would hate to see someone from out of the area buy a property, have something not go through, and then they sell it for more than they paid for, and they just flip it, and we're stuck with the zoning that it has. So, you know, let them come back in a year and with something that's a little bit more developed for everyone to look at. And going forward, this board really needs to kind of look at what you want to ask from developers on property when you're talking about commercial development or HOAs or large construction projects, because everybody says, well, just give us the zoning and then worry about it when we build it and we come back to you with the plan. And I think that that's kind of a dangerous way, and I think that a lot of other communities don't do it that way, and maybe we shouldn't. I don't know. It's just my thoughts.
Patrick Devlin. Kathy Tackett-Hicks, you're on deck.
I'm Patrick Devlin of 2282 South Verde Road in Golden Valley. I'm opposed to this rezone. There is food available at Crazy Fred's. It says in the application to accommodate workers for Harmony, there is food available and that they could go to. And again, like we moved to this area because it's rural. It would set a new precedent putting commercial businesses along Shinnerup, and we're against that. On the way here, there's a cow that looked like it was struck lying right by where this rezone is. I mean, there's a lot of wildlife and it's free range cattle, and I'm very much against businesses going in this area if it can be stopped. Just to, in general, just to try and limit growth. You know, we moved here because it's rural. We love this lifestyle. We understand we have to drive a little bit, but that's why we moved here, because there's not too many people around. That's what we like. So, thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you. Kathy Tackett-Hicks.
Good morning, Honorable Chairman, Supervisors. My name is Kathy Tackett-Hicks. I'm the applicant. I want to clear up several items here. First of all, this individual, yes, he has an address out of Simi. He owns property in Mojave Valley. I've been working for him for 10 or 15 years. He has lots of property. He's not a newbie. Secondly, any development location along Shinnerup or any other road, the county will require a traffic impact study. This particular site, we did in fact submit an elevation view. The building is supposed to be about 3,000 square feet. It's very small. This is absolutely intended to be, I'll just show the little site plan I submitted. Very small in nature. The reason that there is a water supply was for fire protection for this site. Upside down. Okay. The building itself is very small. It's very simple. The elevation plan that we submitted shows, and this is not the best picture, but you can see it's residential in nature looking at it. It's not designed to be a big commercial, you know, tilt-up walls, giant facility. Not intended for big trucks. I did specifically say it would be a location for people traveling Shinnerup. I did reference the Harmony site, which is just a mile or so to the west of this. Because once those workers start coming in, they need a place. This particular site on Shinnerup is about 4.5 miles south of 68, about 2.5 miles west of Shinnerup, and not everybody wants to drive, especially if you have workers, you know, 4 or 5 miles up a dirt road to get to a facility to get a sandwich or whatever it is that they need. There's a tremendous amount of traffic on Shinnerup now. This is not going to remain small. There's an existing commercial site across the street on Shinnerup, less than a mile away from this. This area is growing. You have access from I-40 specifically. And this has not, I mean, I've had numerous opportunities for people that want to do commercial along here that have held off. But they are starting to come in. This is going to be a very limited impact for the area. This is not the general commercial issue that Ms. Espinoza brought up is a general plan designation. It's required to match our zoning, which is a C1, which is the most passive commercial zoning that we have. So this is not going to be a big deal generating, a ton of traffic. Shinnerup Road is already paved. If the traffic impact analysis states that a left turn lane is going to be required, this development's going to have to supply that. So the county is really good at making sure that those things happen with any development. Let me just see what other things. Small building. The elevation fits in with the surrounding area. I did speak with the next door neighbor at the last meeting. He was concerned about having a caretaker there. Right at the meeting, we immediately called the owner and connected those two. This is totally transparent. This is a very small impact. This is a great location for a very small shop to serve all the people traveling Shinnerup and the surrounding area. And I would ask you, please approve it. I think it does make really good sense. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Where's Martin?
What did the traffic impact study show?
We don't have one yet.
You're
so
going to do one, though?
It's required, yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I got a question for Matt.
Let me ask for any other questions. Are there any other folks in the audience wishing to provide testimony during the public hearing? Come on down, state your name and address to the record for our clerk. Thank you.
Twice in one day, supervisors, thank you for letting me speak. I want to just point out a few things here. Golden Valley needs something like this. I'm hearing a lot of the constituents that live in the same area. My name is Logan Marsh. I live in Golden Valley, Arizona. And here's the reality is, I'm loving the fact that we're seeing a mom and pop shop, something that's not another Dollar General. Another thing, I'm hearing the constituents in that particular neighborhood talk, and I want to remind them, this is the same neighborhood that for many, many years operated a strip club. I can't imagine that it's going to be such a negative impact. Crazy Fred's, they're a great establishment. They serve a lot of the Nucor people. This is on the other side of the highway. This is going to be more geared towards the community and the neighbors, and I just wanted to say I'm in support of it. Thank you.
Are there any others in the audience wishing to give testimony during the public hearing on item number 65? Come on up. State your name and address for the clerk. Thank you. Watch your step.
My name is Nick Wendell, 2564 South Coconino Road. From my front yard, I can see that corner. It is approximately 3 miles off of I-40. Anybody traveling I-40 that's going to stop at a convenience store is not going to take a 3-mile one-way detour when you're 3 miles from town. There's no power. From my understanding, there's no plan of having a water well. And I understand county regulations say they have to have plenty of water to fight fire without hauling it. There's no turn lane. If you've ever been around a convenience store that's a 24-hour operation, most every one of them are, even if it's out in the middle of nowhere, you have unsavory people hanging around in the middle of the night. Also, as far as people on their ATVs, side-by-sides, I do that. Everyone I know, before they leave to go out riding their side-by-sides, have a water jug, they have an ice chest, they have sodas, they have food. We prepare for this. Everyone I know that lives out in that area prepares for things. When you go grocery shopping, you buy Instead of a gallon of milk, you buy 2 gallons of milk. Instead of buying 1 bag of chip, you buy 2 or 3 bags of chip. You stock up. You have a pantry. That way, you're cooking dinner and say, oh, I ran out of such and such and I've got to drive all the way to town. No, we don't do that. People that live out in the rural areas like this, we plan to go to town. We don't have last minute spur of the moment, oh, I got to run over and get a quart of milk. We don't work like that. I don't think this is a good thing to have. Everybody I know, as far as gas goes, they've got 2 or 3 5-gallon gas cans sitting there. So if they get home because they didn't want to stop for gas, they can put gas in their car to go back to work the next day. Everybody is either retired or they work in Kingman. And if they got to get something, they get it in town on their way home. I say no to this. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to close the public hearing. Supervisor Martin. Mr. Gunderson.
Chairman, Supervisor Martin. So those are things that will need to be addressed at the site plan and building permit stage. Obviously, they'll need to provide electricity for the building before they'd be able to open and operate. Same with fire suppression. I don't know all the requirements for the fire code, but we do have several commercial entities throughout Mojave County that have large water tanks on the property so that they're able to provide sufficient fire flow to protect those buildings in case of fire. The traffic study is something that is checked during the site plan review process. So Public Works is one of the reviewing entities that needs to sign off on any site plan before it's approved, which needs to happen before they can start building. And so they will take a look at the traffic at that point. That's correct, yeah. Water, electric, traffic, those things all need to be addressed as part of the development process.
Open up to the board. Anybody else have any questions for the applicant or for staff? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
For that motion, for that second, any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Ayes appear to have it, do have it, so ordered. We'll move to a public hearing, 66. I'm not going to read all that into the record. I assume everybody's read that. We have nobody that's formally signed up to speak during public hearing on item number 66. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak during the public hearing? Great. Will you state your name and address for our clerk? Thank you, sir.
Len Robinson, Mojave Valley, Arizona, representing the applicant, Mr. Chairman, Board of Supervisors. This is a parcel of land that was left after the Public Works changed the direction of Plantation. It was a safety issue where they're now have connected to Plantation Way at a 90-degree angle. It's approximately 5,000 square feet. The applicant has gone through the Mojave County requirements to obtain this parcel of land. We've gone through the surveyor, Mike Timlin, and we have paid for the appraisal, and we'd be most grateful if you would approve the sale of this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else in the audience wishing to speak during the public hearing on item number 66? Going once, going twice. Close the public hearing on item number 66. Open up to the board for discussion or a motion.
Mr. Chairman.
Supervisor Gould, thank you.
Motion to approve.
For that motion, do I have a second? Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes appear to have it. Do have it, so ordered. Thank you, board. We'll move to our last public hearing of this morning, item number 67. I'm not going to read that all into the record. I assume everybody's read that. We have nobody that's formally signed up to speak during public hearing on item number 67. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak on item number 67 during the public hearing? Going once, going twice. I'm going to close the public hearing on item number 67. I'd open up to the board.
Make a motion to approve.
For that motion, do I have a second?
Second.
For that motion, second. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes appear to have it, do have it, so ordered. Thank you, Board. Our regular agenda, item number 68, discussion, possible action, adopt the fiscal year 27 to 31 five-year capital improvement road program for completion of capital improvement transportation projects as county and or supporting federal or state funding is available. Director Latosky, you want to come up and give the board an overview of this item, please?
Yes, good morning, Chairman Lingenfelter, members of the board. This item is an item that I bring to the board every year at the start of the fiscal year. It involves the consideration and approval of the five-year capital improvement road program, which I must emphasize is fiscally unconstrained. Mojave County Public Works, through our transportation funding, we operate largely as a maintenance outfit. We strive to provide full-service maintenance and operation of Mojave County roadways, which total over 2,100 miles of roadways. And to that effect, our transportation funds do limit us the extent of how much we can appropriate for capital improvement. So with that, I am very pleased to present a five-year capital improvement program that includes eight projects that include $18 million in federal funding. And that entails a rather nominal, sometimes it's actually zero, most times it's around 5.7% nominal match of county fund with fund. So in the capital program, I present in green those federally funded projects, and the estimated cost you see in the column reflect the county contributions. So yes, indeed, there is in fact a zero for certain projects. The FY27 program does reflect the specific HERF budget that has been presented to and approved by the board as the adopted FY27 budget. Other notable projects that were added to the CIP include a section of Industrial Boulevard about 1 mile long from Mojave Airport Drive to the end, and that reflects the City of Kingman's ongoing pursuit of the Flying Fortress Parkway, which would terminate at Industrial Boulevard. As county engineer, I do have some concern over the pavement structure on Industrial Boulevard should Flying Fortress open and carry a substantial amount of heavy vehicles. So that might be a surface that we may want to look at reconstruction. We also added Bolsa Drive. This actually pairs with an existing project, Egar Road, which has been approved by the board back in 2011 for soil stabilization hard surfacing, with one caveat, and that caveat being when road millings, asphalt millings are. Staff also added Grace Neal Parkway from Bank Street to State Route 66. We saw prudent to include this project should any future state or federal funding be available, as well as it ties into the future Flying Fortress Parkway development. The only project that was removed was Rancho Santa Fe Parkway, and that's the extension of basically the Flying Fortress Parkway Phase 2 due to the City of Kingman's current annexation. Their annexation would completely encompass that former county. With that, I'll close and open for any board.
Thank you, Director. Questions for Director Latosky? Director Latosky, with regard to the Rancho Santa Fe Parkway project that is falling off, if that annexation fails, would the county look at re-adding that to a future five-year program?
Chairman Lingenfelter, members of the board, certainly with the longevity that project has been programmed, staff can certainly bring that back to the board to reconsider and add.
Any additional questions? Supervisor Martin.
Stephen, in regards to your project on Bank Street, I really am glad to see that this was something I brought up a couple of years ago, and I'm glad to see that we're pursuing this and that we're going forward with that, because I really do think that Bank Street as an arterial out there needs to be there as soon as we can get it operational, because that place is growing and those people need a place to get on without having to go out on Stockton Hill Road. So thank you for keeping that on there. And like I say, from my end, you got my complete support on it.
Additional discussion, or I'd open it up for a motion. Thank you, Board.
Motion approved.
I'll second.
Heard that motion second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes appear to have it, do have it. So ordered. Thank you, Board. Item number 69, discussion, possible action. Approve and authorize the chairman of the Mojave County Board of Supervisors to sign an easement and maintenance covenant granting a 30-foot wide perpetual ingress and egress easement across county-owned APN 402-32082 at 4103 East Fleet Street in Littlefield, Arizona for the use by the county and Desert Springs Communities LLC for purposes of securing access preservation to Desert Springs RV Resort subsequent to Desert Springs Communities LLC sale of said property to the county in December 2025. Director Latowski, can you give an overview of this item for the board, please?
Yes, Chairman Lingenfelter, members of the board, this came to our attention, and it really is more of a housekeeping item. When the Beaver Dam Littlefield Sheriff Substation was purchased, that particular property and building encompassed about 6.65 acres. It was previously owned by the conglomerate that owns the Desert Springs RV Park, which is literally just in the rear and east of the sheriff's substation. Well, the sheriff's substation parcel at 0.65 acres includes a substantial amount of paved area, which is actually the access to the RV park. Unbeknownst to the seller of the property that now has been acquired by the county, there was no underlying easement for the access to the RV park. So the seller basically, sold the property and severed his legal access to the RV park. So, as a housekeeping item, staff is presenting this, and I did write an easement covenant which would place all 100% responsibility on the RV park to maintain that paved area. So if there's any potholes, etc., it won't be the county's responsibility to fix those. It'll be the RV. So staff does recommend the board consider item as read.
Thank you very much, Director. Any additional discussion? Ready to entertain a motion?
Motion approved.
Second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes appear to have it. Do have it. So ordered. Thank you, Board.
Very nice.
Item number 70, discussion, possible action, approve a lease agreement between Mojave County and the Hospital Authority District Number 1 to lease 1,082 square feet in the county administrative building from September 1st, 2026 to August 31st, 2031. We have one person that signed up to speak. We'll call it Jennifer Esposito. You'd state your name and address for our clerk. Thank you. And then I'll hand it over to you, Manager Strong.
Thank you, Jennifer Esposito, 3211 East Snavely Kingman. I've discussed this at length with the former chairman of the District 1 Hospital Board, Penny Holden. It's been quite an enlightening conversation. I don't know if everyone understands that this is not the KRMC board, it's the landlord board, because you, the county, own the building, which means we, the people, own the building. She said that in her tenure, the only person filing any public records request that needed access to records was a board member who was somewhat befuddled and liked to be difficult. There is no need to have an office. When you have an office, you have to staff an office. Now, it's my understanding that board members have, in this new incarnation of the board, have decided they also need individual laptops and all kinds of other crazy stuff that was never needed before. If you're going to give office space to yourself, you should probably just do it for free. But you shouldn't engage in a 5-year lease, because right now you have another problem. And that problem is you need to figure out how to pay for the fuel farm at the airport. Okay, and my suggestion to you is that rather than engage in a 5-year lease, renting office space to yourself, you should put it before the Board of Voters to dissolve the District 1 Hospital Board and sell the hospital. Sell it to KRMC, sell it to Banner, sell it to the highest bidder. Get out from under this money shuffling. You know, it reminds me kind of the way that KRMC, the district board, the hospital district board, does their finances. Reminds me of that game where you had the little ball in the cups, right? You know, you're basically paying money to them and then collecting the money and just approving the contracts. But they don't need an office. They don't need to staff an office. They don't need you guys to take over the IT. Right now, the hospital, is my understanding, provides all of this for free. What if you provide the IT and it gets hacked? Are you covered? Does this cover like HIPAA? You know, is there anything that might be involved in record keeping that would need additional insurance? Anything that would, need special safeguards when you start mixing hospital stuff? And what? Right now, the hospital takes care of all that, and they don't charge for it. But if the current board keeps spending money like a bunch of drunken sailors, what's going to happen is they're going to say, oh, gee, now we don't have enough money to cover the things that we need to do, so we're going to need like a bond or something. So I think that you guys need to take a look at this long term, not jump into a 5-year lease, but figure out what you're going to do with this hospital over the next 5 years, just like you need to figure out what you need to do with the airport. Because this is completely unnecessary and unwarranted, and I encourage you to vote no on it. Thank you.
Manager Stroll.
As mentioned in the material that was submitted, we were approached by the hospital board for an opportunity to lease space within the administration building because they wanted to have a separate location from the hospital itself. So this has been ongoing for a couple of months to come up with this amount. The lease amount is based on the going rate that's currently available and offered in Kingman. So we feel this is a market rate that's competitive. There are no support beyond what is in the lease from the county. If they require IT support, they will pay for that. They will also pay for any staff that would assist in their meetings. So this would be, they're paying everything that would, all the services that are necessary for them to operate in the space that they had been offered for lease.
Thank you, Manager. Questions? Supervisor Martin.
We're not supporting and providing laptops or any of that stuff, right?
No, absolutely not.
So we're just giving them a place to hold their meetings, do whatever they want, whatever they do. It's not under our purview at that point.
Yeah, there is no relationship in terms of what their operation is compared to what the county operation is. They're completely separate. They're going to use the public Wi-Fi system, so there's no connection to the city's Wi-Fi system at all also.
Okay.
Supervisor Borelli, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Strahl, so this is not costing us anything. We're actually getting paid rent for this space?
Yes, this space was vacant. It was idle space, so this would be additional funds that we would not have normally without this agreement. Correct.
Thank you.
Any additional questions?
Mr. Chairman.
Supervisor Gould, thank you, sir.
Anybody care to take a shot at explaining how this board is elected? I'm a property owner in this district, and I've never ever seen this go to the ballot. But yet, I'm on the hook for any bonding that they might pass. And I'm just kind of curious about the need for an office. Now, suddenly, they've had this hospital district for over 20 years. As long as I can remember, the county has not run the hospital. So I'm somewhat torn as somebody that might be beholden to pay for this. If they're going to spend money on rent, I would like to get it, but I'm not sure if you've ever watched one of their meetings. They're interesting. That's all.
Thank you. Supervisor Martin.
Mr. Gould, to address that, they haven't had a meeting in I don't know how long, but I did attend some of them when Penny Holden was in charge, and it was, how can I put this gently, a cluster, okay? And so, and we do have a member of the board here. Maybe we could ask him to come up and identify and tell us why you think you need to have this space for your group. Are you willing to talk to us about that? Okay.
Yeah, speak your name, say your name and address for the record for our clerk, please. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name is Katie Tascheron, 2458 Zubia Street in Kingman. And I don't have any prepared remarks, but I'll try and answer your questions.
Well, I think my question would be, can you state what your need is, why you came to the board and asked us to give you this space? What do you need it for?
Okay, so we represent the landlord, and we have quite a bit of work to do every month. So far, the hospital has, they have provided a lot of things to us for free, but they see the need for us to become autonomous and have pulled away, and they've asked us to, all the monthly support that they give us prior to one of our meetings, they've asked us to take it on. Now, we do not have an office, and we do have to perform quite a bit of work prior to each of our meetings. They've given us a small storage closet where we store probably 40 years worth of material. We are going to be in the process of going through all that material and digitizing it. Just the creation of our monthly minutes is a astronomical undertaking, and I would like to address the comment that we are providing all kinds of equipment to each of our board members. We're not. We initially, in having to provide a budget for the next year, we put together a kind of a straw man architecture, which we costed against that. We've since gone through and we've culled it back quite a bit so that it's more realistic. It's going to be presented at the next board meeting, which is next week, and it'll be quite different from what was in the previous minutes. So the hospital sees the need for us to become autonomous and independent. We see the need, and that's our mission at this point.
I have a question about that was asked. How is your board elected?
So far, what we have done, what has happened nearly every election year is we have so many openings, say like 2 openings, and we have 2 people who pull papers and go out and collect signatures. If there's only 2 people who pull papers, then the election is canceled. Instead of us spending $50,000, we cancel the election and appoint those people to the board. That's why it has never been, so far, I don't think there ever has been an election for any of our board members.
Are they volunteers or are they paid?
We are all volunteers, and I have to say that this board is quite different from the board in the past. The level of professionalism and the skill sets with our board members is very high, and we will not engage in the shenanigans of the past.
Or the cluster? Thank you.
Yeah.
Supervisor Gould, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ma'am, what are the duties of your board?
The duties would be we represent the landlord. We evaluate and any proposed capital expenditure. We evaluate that. We review the results. We make sure that the hospital is maintaining the building and the built-ins as they should be. It's strictly, we do landlord type duties.
So you said you represent the landlord. The landlord is the county, or the landlord is the voters?
The landlord would be the voters ultimately.
Do you perform maintenance on that facility?
We over a certain amount, we are supposed to be involved. We are supposed to be provide some oversight.
And that money comes from the hospital?
The hospital.
Kingman Regional?
Yeah, the hospital. Yeah, they're required to maintain the building up to a certain level of repair, basically.
So when there's a level of their capital involvement that they have to get your approval on?
Right.
Since it's your facility, basically?
That's correct.
Okay.
And we have no plans to float bonds or increase taxes to cover what we're doing. We don't see a need for that.
Currently. Currently. So thank you for enlightening me on this somewhat murky
it's complicated
operation. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Supervisor. Supervisor Borelli.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Ma'am, where do you get your funding from?
We are funded through the collection of rent. We receive $100,000 a month from the hospital.
So, Mr. Chairman and ma'am, so the hospital pays you rent?
That's correct.
And then you're going to rent a county space?
That's correct.
Just costs the county nothing?
That's correct.
Yeah. Except vacant space we're providing. Thank you.
Thank you. I know you didn't prepare any remarks, but just for those that are listening today, are you able to give maybe just the Reader's Digest version of the relationship between the hospital board, KHI, the hospital, how all those entities are related to each other?
Let's see. So as I've said, we represent the landlord. KHI represents the hospital. So far, we don't have a very strong relationship with KHI. They do attend our meetings. Their meetings are closed to the public, so we do not attend their meetings.
It's not on our agenda, but I think several years ago they went to a closed board.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only hospital I've ever seen that has voluntarily said, "Hey, we'll build a $50 million interchange on a highway." So, but that's a different matter entirely.
Mm-hmm.
Manager Strahl, what's going to happen with this space if they don't occupy it? Is it just going to sit there vacant for 5 years? Do you have any plans for it as far as organizationally?
Nothing in the immediate future, no.
Thank you, sir. That's all the questions I have. Any questions? Supervisor Letman, thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to continue this item for 2 more meetings. I'd like to learn more about the board.
For that motion, second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Ayes appear to have it, do have it, so ordered. Thank you, board.
Thank you.
Item number 71 is for executive session, authorizing agreement between Allen Tempert, Mojave County to conduct temporary election as needed advisory assistance for the 2026 election cycle to terminate on November 20th of 2026. Agreement shall be for up to 200 hours of temporary assistance at a rate of up to $105 per hour with a maximum cost to the county of $25,000. We need a motion, Mr. Attorney?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Need a motion for executive session.
Make a motion to move into executive session.
Thank you, sir. Do I have a second? All in favor, please say aye. All opposed? Move into executive session.
So don't worry.
We're going to come back out of executive session. I'd open it up to the board. What do we got? Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman,
Supervisor Gould, thank you.
motion to approve.
Second.
For that motion, second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I appear to have it, do have it, so ordered. We'll move to our call to the public this afternoon. First up is Chuck DeShazer. Thank you. Armin Stange. And Dr. Christensen, you're on deck.
You're on deck, Doc. Hold on.
Armin, your name and address.
Good morning, Supervisors. I'm in Stange, Fort Mojave, aka the German.
Thank you.
So now we start again. We had for a few years peace and quiet in the neighborhood, and since he has a dozer, he's crushing cars again. It's getting very old very fast. There's another picture where you see the crushed car out there. I guess they.
Can IT turn? Yeah.
So let's start over. You see the dozer sitting there, a crushed motorhome frame, and it's getting old, very, very old. He used to do it in, up to 2017 after he went missing in action again. They took his stuff away. There is the vehicle what he crushed. You still see the white fenders on there. And I always thought the county had an ordinance where you don't work at night in the neighborhood. Well, obviously he is busy enough to do it. And the county just passed an ordinance about dust abatement. I guess he did get the memo. There's another picture where he is digging, and he's digging at that spot for a month and a half, and I don't know what he is digging for. I'm sure it's not gold. And then the other thing is, all the newcomers to Mojave County, they feed the wildlife, then they call the county and bitch about coyotes in their yard. And they threaten other neighbors that they shoot coyotes even on their property. That's not acceptable. You know, I'm pretty sure there is something on the county level when they come here that they get a memo handed out. Don't feed the wildlife or the pigeons. Leave them alone. This way, it keeps the coyotes away. You know, I don't have a problem with coyotes on my property. I don't feed the rabbits. I don't feed the rabbits. I feed the quail. They're kind of cute, little ones following them. And we have another property. It is the Rami property on 4201 Camino de Iva. He is collecting dirt like there's no tomorrow. And that affects the coyotes too. And the last thing, the fire department has a property on Andrews, on the east side of Andrews. There's a motorhome sitting there. I called the fire chief, I called the second in command, nothing happened. I don't know what they're doing with it, but the vehicle is getting stripped there on their property. I really would be appreciated if anybody does something about it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Rob Christensen. Scotty McClure, you're on deck.
Dr. Rob Christensen. I reside at 3951 Sorensen Drive here in Kingman. The Kingman Area Rapid Transit District, let me start over, sorry. The Kingman Area Rapid Transit covers territory in the unincorporated areas of Kingman, yet Mojave County has not provided material support to sustain coverage for over a decade. My opposition to the continuation of the L route at the Kingman City Council meetings was based upon two principles. The first was the lack of county support, and the second was the misrepresentation of facts by a Mojave College administrator related to CART's operational funding at the May 19th Kingman City Council meeting and Mojave College's subsequent response to the employee's misrepresentation of facts. At the June 24th Kingman City Council meeting, Supervisor Martin pledged that Mojave County would provide support to help fund the operational expenses of CART's Yellow Route. If Mojave County is willing to provide support for Kingman to operate CART's Yellow Route, I'm willing to withdraw my opposition to ending CART's Yellow Route, even though the Mojave College Board of Governors violated my constitutional and statutory rights when addressing Mojave College's misrepresentation issue and subsequent response at its June 2026 Board of Governors regular meeting. I provided this body information regarding the previous matter via letter, and if any board members have questions, please feel free to contact me. The important thing is for Kingman and Mojave County to collaborate to financially support CART's Yellow Route operations. If this collaboration can take place, I believe that this may lead to further economic development of the Kingman area served by the Yellow Route, along with benefiting residents that reside within and outside of the Kingman city limits. Economist Milton Friedman stated, quote, "There is no such thing as a free lunch," close quote. Therefore, it is important that Mojave County provide financial support for CART's Yellow Route. If other cities were or are in a situation where they were or are providing services to adjacent unincorporated areas, I hope that Mojave County provided or would provide financial support for those initiatives as well. In closing, I want to thank the Mojave County Board of Supervisors for permitting me to speak and not acting to censor me by prematurely ending my speaking time like another local governmental body recently did. Thank you.
Jennifer Esposito. Diana Francis, you're on deck.
Thank you. Jennifer Esposito, Kingman, still a precinct committeeman, Don. Still a precinct committeeman. So just to remind Supervisor Martin, before he decides to get on the Facebook page he uses to communicate to constituents and spread false allegations about me, I'm still a precinct committeeman. And I have the report, and I had filed a request, and I will have the video to go with it. We'll make that public. Fun times. So Supervisor Martin met with the Golden Valley community, and a lot of tough questions were asked. He brought Mr. Latosky to answer the questions he couldn't answer. One of the issues that I raised is that he said that staff would like the staff to keep running the GVID, except that we pay over $400,000 for the county to run the water department for us. But what I brought up that I would just like to once again bring to your attention is that Supervisor Johnson, on his way out, tabled the item indefinitely about letting those of us who filled out applications and whose applications were accepted to run the GVID board privately like it was intended to under Title 48. I believe I even have quotes from Chairman Lingenfelter saying you're going to get the board. You know, we said we give it to you. You can have it. So I would like to ask this board to bring this forward at some time in the near future and reconsider whether or not Supervisor Johnson's motion outlived his tenure on the board. Can a supervisor table something indefinitely? Because under the new rules of order, I believe they can't. But I don't think that you can just kick the can down forever and then never bring something back again, and then that supervisor isn't even on the board anymore, but yet it's tabled indefinitely. But we can, now I'd like to point out, none of you are water experts, none of the 5 of you are water experts, none of you even have property in Golden Valley Improvement District. But to think that 5 of us who actually do have property in the district could not hire experts equally as qualified as Mr. Latosky when we're paying the majority of salary and benefits for the water department, even though we're one of 5 or 6 districts. So I think that for our $400,000, we could hire someone else to do the bookkeeping, I don't know, maybe Valley Pioneer or something. But I'm pretty sure we could negotiate for that kind of money, at least as good of a deal. but I think that we deserve the opportunity to try. The board said we could have it. Tabling it indefinitely, not really, living up to that. So I just like to plant that seed that maybe going forward, we need to look at the Golden Valley Improvement District, especially considering that there's going to potentially be 500 and something homes built by Angle Homes, and there are only 399 water allotments to sell them. Thank you.
Diana Francis. Ben Gary, you're on deck.
Thank you, supervisors and Chairman. I appreciate the opportunity to speak again. I'm here to complain about the Topak School District that is a hemorrhage, and it has been since its very inception. We weren't expecting to have that, but we've got it. Chuck, Gene Kuhn, and myself are running for the school board, and we're running on the premise that we're not going to approve their new taxes and their hemorrhage. I am sick of it. It's a waste of money. That whole thing of their books need to be audited, like seriously at the state level, very deeply. And also I'd like to thank all of you that served in the military. My brother was a Green Beret in Vietnam, 69-70, and my son passed away in the Navy 32 years ago. And he's forever 27 and a half, and he would be 60 on the 16th of this month. And thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, ma'am. Ben Gary. State your name and address for our clerk, please. Thank you.
Ben Gary, Capstone Arrow, Denver, Colorado. Chairman Lingenfelter, Supervisors, pleasure to see you again. I have another letter I'd like to submit for the record. I'll submit it to...
Can you speak into the microphone, sir? So our board, yeah.
Tall guy problems. Chairman Lingenfelter, Supervisors. A constituent recently described the relationship between this board and the airport authority as a dog and pony show. While I understand that frustration and support that level of civic engagement, the reality is far more serious than theatrics alone. FAA grant funding remains stalled, the county continues to bear the responsibility of an airport sponsor, and a year of posturing and legal hot potato has come at the cost of every airport stakeholder and county resident interested in seeing this issue moving forward. You now have an opportunity, not simply to react or continue, quote, hoping for a grant on a wing and a prayer, but to lead, and you seem to be seizing that opportunity. On May 18th, this board did something important. You shifted the conversation from assigning blame to exercising leadership. You directed inquiry into federal financial due diligence, airport revenue enhancement, governance failures, and the highest and best use of 194 acres of airport land that remain yet undeveloped. We applaud that transition and the county's increased focus on transparency because those are the responsibilities of an FAA-obligated sponsor. At Capstone, we support airports converting economic potential into tangible value through our airport investment readiness partnerships and endorse a philosophy we have called stewardship capitalism. The belief that public infrastructure should be actively stewarded through sound financial, federal compliance, and long-term economic values in partnership with the FAA and its sponsor, a program that the MCAA has already contracted us to perform. While I cannot discuss the advice provided under our agreement with the airport authority to date, our public actions should speak for themselves. On November 21st of last year, one of our subsidiaries submitted a letter of intent to develop those same 194 acres mentioned by this board on May 18th through a design, build, finance, operate, maintain, public-private partnership master development. It's a mouthful, DBFOM P3. We are prepared to bring financing, engineering, long-term tenants, and implementation partners together to maximize the economic value of this public asset and reinvest those proceeds back into the airport in collaboration with the airport sponsor in alignment with the FAA compliance doctrine, not simply complete a transaction through third-party development or land leases. Likewise, on April 6th, this board approved a mutual release with Capstone Aero. We have not executed that release, nor have we moved forward with our development interests, despite the financial strain caused by continued delay. That's because the issues that prompted our engagement with the MCA remain unresolved. To be clear, we have not chosen to move forward, not because the airport's development is not economically viable, but because this body has not stepped into its role as the FAA sponsor, resolved the governance ambiguities that exist today, and demonstrated proactive leadership in conversations with Bullhead City and the MCAA. In closing, during the discussions on 4.6, Supervisor Letman stated, clearly, I think there is going to need your services in the future, and described the need to understand the airport's financial conditions, governance, and what it would take to turn it around. If those remain the board's objectives, Capstone stands ready to support those efforts.
Thank you, sir. Stephen Robinson.
It sucks to turn 61. Anyway, my name is Steve Robinson. I live in Golden Valley. I'm going to take you through a history of the county's finances from 2016-15 on. Here's the 2015 budget. Notice this line right there where it shows $12 million in the general fund. And then notice the bottom line, it says reduction for amounts not available. So if you're set aside of something. So it was $12 million in general fund balance at the end of 2015. In the end of 2016, there was almost 14 million. But look what happened. Instead of saying reduction for amounts not available, it says unbudgeted fund balance. So you add those two figures. 1 year later, there was $25 million in the general fund, not counting a bunch of other funds. Fast forward to 2027 budget that was approved last month. But first, I'm going to read something from the budget book last year. It said, the very significant section that says the general fund balance is expected or projected to be $38.2 million with a $12 million contingency. Here is the actual budget. There was $81 million left at the end of last year. That's more than double what they projected. Then down here you see them saying, budget maintained for future financial security. The total of those two figures is $138 million. That's $20 million more than was spent in 2026 fiscal year or 20. So the question is, why is there so much money? Why does the county tell us that there's so little money that we're running a structural deficit? And by the way, two other columns in here are part of the general fund but never included. One of them is the capital projects fund. Now, I don't doubt that it's a worthy project, but in your financial reports, it's supposed to be disclosed as part of the general fund. Then the third column, and there's $35 million in that fund. Then the next column over is internal service funds. You got over $5 million in a car to buy new cars when every department has to budget to spend money for the cars for their needs. So it's another slush fund. I'm thinking that there should be some consideration of some changes and more disclosure. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That was our last speaker. We are adjourned.